Hello and welcome to the Adam Friedland Show. Uh,
Was the camera on me or was it on him?
I don't know.
You fucked my intro up.
I'm sorry.
I'm joined today by Adam Friedland's friend, Nick Mullaney.
Here I am, Stavros Halkias.
Yeah.
In the flesh.
Shit.
Yeah.
I thought you guys didn't associate anymore.
Not like on camera, I guess. Not
Okay.
in person.
Well, how's life?
Life's good. I had a great day today.
Already?
Yeah.
It's like 1:40. There's like hardly any of the day that's happened.
I've never been like a New Year's resolution guy, and I guess I'm not this year either, because it's always like, well, you're just not gonna fucking do the thing past like 3 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I start my New Year's resolutions in February for that.
that's smart.
Yeah. So then you're away from all the other losers. And then when people see you doing your New Year's resolution, they see you doing it like February 2nd. And it's like, good for you. You stuck with it. And it's like, I'm on day 2.
That's
okay?
smart. Well, I didn't this year. I didn't do a New Year's resolution, but like I know that I just do better in the morning anyway. So I've been waking up at like 5:45, 6 o'clock.
Damn.
But those are the good. I'm happy.
That's
the morning.
good.
And then I go to bed at like 9:30.
Okay.
And so I walked to the gym, used the sauna, then walked home, had a bagel, and it's like I'm great.
I don't think there's any science to back this up, but I read that every hour before like 12.
Isn't reading science?
Does it count as science?
I think so. Yeah.
think it's
If
moving to,
somebody
like-
takes the time to write something down, that's science.
I think that when it's like been a thing for long enough, it becomes common sense.
Yeah,
Like people
right,
call it
okay.
common sense. So that's common sense is reading. But every hour before 12 is like a magical hour. It's like if you go to sleep like before midnight, like every hour before, like if you go to sleep at like 10, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
if you wake up at like 7 or 8 or 9, that's just like so
I
good. Yeah.
start to collapse internally around 4 p.m.
Okay.
And if I'm up till like 2 a.m., it's like, oh, you got to kill yourself. You know, this is.
Jeez, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Good
So
pressure
you wake
to get
up
you
at
to sleep, I
6.
guess,
Yeah,
huh?
5. During COVID, I was waking up at like 4:30 in the morning.
What was your COVID life like?
Not too much different, just less. I mean, I would go to. I don't really do anything. So yeah, I would like work out in my apartment and play Doom Eternal. I can't remember if that came out. That's my memory of it. Of COVID is Doom Eternal.
Okay. You're like
Yeah.
a gamer. That's cool. All right.
Sometimes I've been getting back into it. I've been really letting myself indulge.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the recent game you've played?
What did I was just talking to him about. I played that game Control. They put that on like the PlayStation as like a streaming service,
Okay.
and it might be one of the worst games I ever played.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Why is it
Yeah.
so horrible?
It's very embarrassing. It's like even sitting there by myself to like hear what these characters are saying and
Is
what
it like
they
an
care
anime
about.
style game or
It's
what?
worse than that.
Okay.
It's
like a Marvel
what-
movie.
Yeah, it's like if like a bully's idea of anime, if that became something, but it's like it's a female protagonist, which is fine.
Yikes. Okay, yeah.
But like
Probably trans, yeah.
female protagonist by a guy that was probably like, you know what we should have? A female protagonist. So then it comes off as this like, it's just embarrassing, right? I wasn't prepared to like talk in detail about what makes it so, but it's like I was saying I never really like understood what cringe meant
Mm-hmm.
like exactly until playing this, where I'm like I can't, like I just don't want to hear what they're saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You're way more culturally in tune, I think, than I am. Like you've seen like movies that aren't just the most popular movies, and you like your comedian stuff and everything. I'm kind
I
of
don't
curious
know
from
to
your.
what degree you were culturally
Not at
in
all.
tune or not.
I'm a gamer, and I've seen some anime basically, and I sit on the
Well,
computer all
we're
day.
probably on the same.
Okay, but you know like more than 2 directors. Okay, that's you have like a world of knowledge away from me. Actually, I know 3 now because David Lynch just died. So
He did.
Yeah.
So you're learning about David Lynch now?
no, but I remember the name at least for a few days.
Have you watched any of his movies?
Somehow, sometimes there'll be famous directors, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen a lot of his stuff. I don't know if I've actually seen any David Lynch stuff.
You know what you should start with is his Dune.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. He hated it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it is weird, but it's. Do you like Dune?
I didn't
recent
like
one?
Dune 1 that much. I thought it was kind of boring. I thought Dune 2 was okay.
I didn't see 2. I think I don't. I've seen the David Lynch Dune,
Okay.
and then I saw the TV miniseries, and then I saw this one with the boy. But I've seen all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I could not tell you a single thing about the story.
Okay.
I don't know anything. That I've just my eyes fucking roll. I'm like, oh, it's like Star Trek kind of.
I don't actually know. Actually, there's a
Yeah.
boy, and he has the voice, and
I
there's
don't.
the
I would
worms.
challenge anyone that just saw only the new one to tell
Mhm.
me what that movie's about.
I feel like the problem with a lot of
And if you can meet that challenge, you're disinvited from the contest.
damn,
But if you have,
it's got to be funny. So
yeah,
I can't know
right.
the answer.
We're doing a
right?
pre-contest where we check to see if you know, and then if you do, you're disqualified.
Do you think the whole like woke stuff for media, like you spoke about like the cringy woman protagonist lead, do you think that was like
That's not the
overblown, or
problem.
do you
It's
think?
not. Yeah, it's not a woke thing. It's that it's this like kind of like, it's just this It's a very like hot topic kind of vibe. It's not. It's not the woke. It's the game's not woke at all.
Sure.
It's like a woman with like, she's got like supernatural intuition, and her brother was kidnapped, and he's like crazy, dude. He's like so crazy, and so he's so crazy that the government needs his mind, and then it doesn't go anywhere. It's
Okay.
just like, you know.
What does this have to do with it being a woman protagonist over a guy protagonist?
It's a woman protagonist written by like a man who I'm assuming has never had sex. It's like a gay like.
Is she bad
it's
at
like
writing, or what's like the indicator in
it's
the
like,
game
you
where it's
know,
like, wow, this is definitely not.
You've
a,
always played games, right?
Yeah.
And maybe when you were 10, you would be like, wouldn't it be cool if my girlfriend played games also? If I had it, and you've never had a girlfriend.
Okay.
And then you become an adult, and if your girlfriend also plays video games, you're like, get the fuck away from me.
Okay.
You know, you
She's
should
slowing you down, yeah.
Yeah, well, not slowing me down. It's like, I don't want to do the same thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You have to have your own interests. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's like a fictional. I don't even know if that's really the problem. It's just very embarrassing. It gives me a yes, very much like a hot topic, cringe. Like, dude, I'm twisted. You know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe, and that's what I hate about it.
Okay. I'm saying okay, but I don't think I have any idea what you mean at all. Actually, now that I'm thinking about
God
it, but
fucking damn it!
I just
dude.
don't understand what you're
it
all
just
saying.
Sucks.
Okay.
I don't
it
like.
sucks.
I didn't.
Gotcha. It's cringy. It's poorly written.
You
okay.
know what you can't
Yeah.
do to me is you can't ever ask why.
Okay.
Right. So if I say
That's good.
something,
We're vibes. We're all vibing. We're about the vibes
If I
here,
say
yeah.
something, right, and even if it's nonsense, you go totally.
Totally. Okay.
Right. Totally.
Okay.
If you say why, you come on, man. You're throwing fucking sand in the wrenches. Now you go
Totally.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
That analogy doesn't mean anything. Is that what is that? What does that mean? Nothing. Right?
Totally. I got you.
Yeah,
I
right.
understand what you
Exactly.
mean now we're on the same wavelength.
Right. Yeah. That's jazz. That's jazz.
That's jazz.
That's jazz.
Just random, go with the flow. Collateral, right?
Sure.
Great
See,
movie.
now you
That's
made
a
it
great
made sense
movie.
for me. I
Yes.
just said that's jazz. I don't know what that means at
absolutely.
all. But
We
yeah,
got it.
there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Okay.
Wait, have you
cool.
seen Collateral? Go here,
Um,
drink, because you keep trying to drink, and then I ask you
I
questions.
got one
and I feel
sip in.
bad. Okay.
I got one
I feel
sip
like I'm
in.
interrupting you. Yeah.
Collateral. No, I'm just nervous. This
Oh.
is like, yeah. I had
Okay.
no idea what to expect coming into this. You told me you got.
Didn't we give you like a whole packet of like show prep or whatever?
No, they gave me nothing. But also, it's like I come in, you're making fun of my clothes. You're like, you look like a faggot. And I'm
I
like,
didn't
"Hey,
make
okay."
fun of your clothes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I said fag, not faggot, okay? So also this is nice. I like this outfit, okay? To be clear, it was the people behind the scenes who were like, "Can we actually put him on looking like that?" And I'm like, "No, he's fine. He's good."
At clearance at Patagonia, or not
Oh, and it's
Patagonia.
North Face.
It's North
You do a lot of
Face.
snowboarding?
No, none.
Skiing?
No, nothing. What I do a lot of is staying warm, and I got these at what the fuck is it? Paragon Sports on clearance last spring. So they were like throwing them out. I got these for like $35. They're like $200 pants or something. I'm assuming they're $500 pants, and I got them for almost nothing.
That's an amazing savings.
But then I just bought them, and so they were new, and so I wanted to wear them, but it was already like close to April, so I was sweating pretty bad in the studio, and then I spilled an entire jar of paint all over red paint, and it splattered all over them, and I had to spend.
What were you doing with the jar of red paint?
I don't know what the fuck. We painted I hired my friend. I don't know if anyone's watched the Adam Friedland show outside of your.
Yeah. Oh, we watched so many episodes on stream.
Well, you probably haven't seen it very early on. So initially it was just like, we had a podcast and then we didn't, and it was like, let's just do something else. And I was like, let's rent a studio space. And like, there was an idea to have it become what it is now, but like, we didn't know how to do it. We didn't know what to do at all. We like figured it out on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first month or so, we were shooting like test episodes. We would call them like test episodes. And there's one early one. If you see, I'm dressed up like Dracula, and Adam interviews Dracula. Dracula was technically the first guest on the show.
Okay.
And my friend John, I hired to paint the studio, and that was the day he was there. So the man's ass that like swings behind Adam's head on the ladder, that's John. And John's very John's like a props guy, and he's good at what he does. But he came in to paint, and he told us that those things, the sprinkler. I think those are those risers? When sprinklers go laterally, when
Okay.
like fire suppression is, I don't know.
Is it on risers? Are those like the
No,
things
I
that
think
hold it up? Or
there's a name for when pipes go up and
up
down, and
down,
there's
okay.
one for when they're just lateral.
Okay.
And now I see this one's painted red. And John said, "Oh, you have to paint those red. That's code." And then the landlord came in. He's from Ukraine, and he's
How
like,
does that matter?
"Well, because you love Ukraine."
Okay.
I don't know. I thought maybe aren't you like a Ukraine guy?
Sure. Okay. Awesome. Okay. I'm way more connected to this story now that you told me. your
Yeah,
landlord's
right.
Ukrainian.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're
go
like,
ahead.
"Oh,
yeah.
I was waiting for it
Yeah.
to get
Okay. I
interesting."
think now I know why I'm
He's
supposed
like,
to
"What do
care.
you
Yeah,
paint?
okay.
You can't paint this red. Those are the red. Only the ones up and down are red. This one, no. You got to do that all over again, right?" So that's why we had the red paint, is so that John could paint those. But he got like, there's like 2 pipes, and there's like 9 buckets. It's like all these
lot of paint,
extra
okay.
buckets of red paint sitting around the
Why weren't they
office.
already painted red? Did you install like a new fire
Because I
suppression
don't
system
think
in
they
the
have
studio?
to be. I don't think it's code that they have to be painted red. I think only the ones in the hallway that go up and down have to be painted red.
Okay,
so the
so they
whole
just-
room was white, I guess, and then
Okay.
we painted the walls black, and then the office hunter green.
Is this a studio that I was in, or is this a
Yeah,
different?
it was
oh,
one
okay.
you're in. Yeah.
Then they let you paint that studio.
Well, it's a commercial space. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. I hope that's the rule.
Well, if the
I've, like,
Ukrainian
drilled
landlord
into
came
the
in and he
structure
okayed it,
of
then
the
it's probably
building.
fine.
We put
yeah.
in like all that. What's that?
If the Ukrainian landlord
Oh,
came in,
he
was cool
hates
with
it. He hates
Oh.
anything that you do.
What year was
He's
this?
like, "What is this? Did you do this? Why is what the plant's going to, the whole building going to turn into plant if you do this?
You let
Come
you
on,
stay,
guys,
right?
you're
Yeah, you're good.
crazy." Yeah, he's always doing this move, and he's got pointy shoes. He's got these
Like
little,
Santa Claus?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, he's got these little pointy shoes, and he goes, "Come on, you guys, you do this, fucking." And then he goes off.
Is he like
somewhere.
older, like 60s, or like?
He's probably in his late 60s. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, nice
Jeez.
guy.
How long have you lived in New York for?
11 years, and that's the other thing too. And I say, okay,
Okay.
because I feel like I'm boring you. And
No, I'm listening. I'm captivated.
Oh, okay.
listening, yeah.
Well, I'm definitely. I'm glad we can't see the chat. It's over here saying, "Why is he talking?"
No,
about
no, they're
pipes?
spamming like LOL. This is
Why is he
hilarious.
talking about
Funniest
pipe?
thing
Why is
ever.
he talking about pipes right now? I don't. Who is this guy? Super Mario over here talking about all these goddamn pipes he's talking. They're probably calling me fucking. Like, this guy thinks he's Super Mario. Well, he's not. He's fucking not, dude. That's what they're saying about me.
Who'd you live before you New York?
Well, no, I wanted to say this.
Oh,
'cause
you wanted to
here's
say something? Yeah.
Yeah, so my
ahead.
vague understanding of things is
Of New York, or?
well, no. So you're here you're like, there's like, so the Democrats need to get on the internet somehow, right? In vague terms, that's sort of what's
Vague. That's a very
not
macro.
your goal in particular, but
Mhm.
that's something that's being considered. It's like
Democrats are
this-
trying to
figure out a new
figure
media
out how to- yeah.
strategy, something like that.
Yeah.
And you're involved in that, and
something
then,
like that. Yeah.
And then, is this true or not? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you do have, part of this beef with Hassan is like this, like, sort of fissure between the online liberals and the online leftists, which you see as being.
I don't know where you're going with this, so I'll say roughly.
Where I'm
yeah.
going with this is
Yeah.
I have perceived some disdain for like the New York set, whatever you want to call the New York socialists or whatever. I feel like you don't like New York.
I love New York as a city.
But that's the kind of stuff you don't like, and I'm going to say you can't come to Bushwick. You can't come here and stay in Bushwick and be like, you're putting yourself in that position.
I can totally do that.
No, you should be staying.
And I can bring my I can turn these people
I know.
to be more like me.
Those
okay?
guys don't listen.
We're going to be flying bush
There's a
flags,
75-year-old man doing
Iraqi freedom.
kickflips outside. This is not the neighborhood where you can go to one of the Seinfeld neighborhoods. Go
What's
to
that?
the Upper West Side.
That's in the city still, right?
It's in the city. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
okay.
see a better part of New
Who
York.
said I was going to move here?
I didn't say you were going to move here.
Well, why are you telling me I can't then? That
I
just makes
didn't
me wanna
say
do
no,
it.
no. I'm saying when you come to visit.
Oh.
If you have a negative perception of New York, don't come to Bushwick.
I have a really positive perception of New York.
Okay, then I was wrong.
I like New York.
Then I was wrong.
My issue with a lot of the
And Hassan doesn't even live here.
of course. This is my issue with the political people, okay? Is
Yeah.
that like people on the right will hate everything. They'll hate America, the system, the government, whatever. And
But they love hats.
they do like
And
hacks,
that's relatable.
but more importantly, they like voting.
yeah.
And people on the left will hate everything. They'll be like, "This is why we're not going to vote for either of them." And it's like, well, okay, well, this isn't working. I think that's my big issue.
Is that they don't vote.
Yeah.
So if they voted, but
If
I'm
Hassan
pretty sure
if Hassan said
voted.
every single thing the exact same,
Uh-huh.
but he was like, we got to vote for the Dems in the election, then I'd be like, okay, fine, fuck it.
Mhm.
I still disagree with a lot of what he says, but I'd be like 1,000 times more okay with it.
You think he didn't vote?
No.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah.
I guess. But this time it was like what, genocide versus abortion or whatever.
Well, it would have been genocide versus genocide plus abortion and everything else if you think it's genocide. Because it's not like
Yeah.
Trump's going to be better on it, right? Or
Well,
do you think
didn't
Trump has
that-
a lot of love for Palestinians?
What didn't the ceasefire? I don't know. I just look. I
Mhm.
mean, I have the Apple News app, so I
Okay.
don't know. But from what Apple
You should
News,
get on Ground News, ground.news/DGG.
do
It's
they
a
have
good
an? Oh, is that
50% discount
You
code
have
on the
your own
Vantage
news
plan.
now, or do you have a promo
It's a
code
sponsor
for the
for
news?
it. Yeah.
That's all. I
Fair
see.
and balanced. There you go.
I
yeah.
need to figure out how to do that. I just have like kratom companies, which is fine because I mean, I've had a kratom problem in the past, so that
Mhm.
makes sense that
That's good.
that they
I
would
find that when
wanna-
your sponsor links go through like Tor though to buy the product,
Yeah, right.
probably not.
What
very
I don't
effective.
like is that I've had offers from every single dick pill company,
Okay.
which it's like, okay, but why me?
'Cause you turn 36 and you're a guy, and
This
they're like,
was
well,
back in my 20s. They
Oh,
were like,
shit.
they're like, oh, his audience, none of their dicks work.
Jesus.
Yeah, or probably him, and it doesn't. But how do you know? You know what I mean?
You should ask them.
How do they know?
Why are you contacting me?
The algorithm.
Oh.
That's why. That's
Well, now
that's,
not the algorithm. Now it's
bro.
now
That's,
it's
I wish
AI, right?
Marianne was here already.
She's on her way.
I don't know anything about her, but I would just love to be like, isn't the real enemy the fucking algorithm? And she would be like, fuck yeah, it is.
Fucking A, dude.
Yeah.
I like when my enemies are like impossible to identify, so I can just rage against the world and not do anything about it.
The algorithm?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that even an enemy? I don't even know what that is. I say it all.
Nobody seems to.
I had like a 30-minute conversation about the algorithm the other day with like 3 people. And then at the end, I'm like, do any of us know what that means?
You know,
then-
like in
and then we
the-
all just, we know, not a single word was said. We just separated.
It's like the man.
Kind of. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
like the man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except now the man's a fucking robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still controlled by men though, like Trump.
Yeah. So, but Trump's not the algorithm.
Nobody controls it.
Yeah.
So
Do you
we should
think
vote
he
against him,
uses
yeah.
computers and stuff?
He's
He's such an 80s guy. I imagine that he's got like a Bloomberg terminal, but like not. I don't see him using technology other than like a vending machine.
I feel like for people in that area, it's hard to
He
tell.
just has a lot of like gold pens.
Yeah, I don't know like how much they actually engage with anything. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how much is like an act or like.
Has
is this
anyone
guy
seen
really
my
dumb?
gold pen? And then he just writes down. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, yeah.
No. That's not even a good Trump impression. I do probably the worst one.
Well, I feel like of all the impressions you could practice, it would be. You've had like 8 years.
Yeah. Well, I've never practiced an impression. It's like sometimes you just like surprise yourself and you do one. Like you're in the car. And for me, it's always been ones that it's like people that I kind of already sound like. Like I had
Okay.
a Tucker Carlson one that went, we have the same voice, I think.
Do you have the
He
same?
just said, we have a very similar voice. It's not hard for me to, it's just,
you have a similar cadence. Too.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, no, that's me doing his cadence.
Oh,
but I
okay,
think
okay,
that
okay,
we have the same box.
Maybe. Yeah. Close enough. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would love to do. You should do his show, dude.
I don't think he would ever have
What
me
is-
on.
whatever
but
is like,
I'd love to.
Whatever his like denim sauna is that he has now as a podcast.
What is a denim sauna?
I think that's the name of the show. It's Tucker's Denim Sauna, and he brings people in, and he wears like a denim suit, and they're in a sauna,
Okay.
and he's got a TV behind him, and the sun's.
Are you
on.
talking about like the cabin that they're in?
Is that a cabin?
I assumed it was like a cabin.
I thought it was supposed to be the sauna from Challengers.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Another pop culture reference that I don't
I'm
get.
sorry. Yeah.
Oh my god! What is
Yeah.
Challengers?
Challengers is a tennis movie that came out last year.
Oh,
That's just sort of, it looks gay, but it isn't.
is that what you tell everybody?
Well, kind of. Yeah, sort of. And I don't know. It's weird. It's almost like, I don't know who made the movie, but you would think that would get called out for being like not stolen valor, but appropriation.
I think we've moved. I think gay people are like normal enough now that we don't really factor them in anymore.
Yeah, but if anything is like stealing from gay, because everything does ultimately.
Yeah, but isn't the
almost
thing,
all
like-
culture goes back to Paris is Burning, specifically. It's pretty
I
crazy.
don't know much about that, but weren't the gays accused of stealing from like black culture?
But that's what I mean.
It was like black men to
yeah,
black women to gay men.
right.
to-
But that's
yeah.
that's the Paris is Burning kind of.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
It's a
Fill me in.
It's a documentary.
Oh, another
about
pop culture reference.
ball
Okay.
culture. And
Gotcha.
New York.
Any other
I'm
movies
sorry.
or
I'm not
directors
trying
you
to.
want to throw
I'm
out
not.
there?
I'm
No, 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 it's
literally.
cool.
I'm not trying to be like.
The thing is, all the film that I watch is like
have you
from
ever
Japan in the
read,
1920s.
yeah.
It's black and white. You know,
Yeah.
you can't watch a lot of it anymore because the atomic bombs like contaminated a lot
I'm
of the
talking
films.
about a
You got to
movie
fly there and watch it.
Teenagers
like,
dressing up like ladies, and you sit there like Archie Bunker, and you're like, "Can you believe this fucking
Can you
shit?"
believe this guy?
That's what I do with the movie. But no, I'm not trying to like check you on
Flex your
on
pop culture history
on pop
knowledge.
culture
No,
references.
it's good.
I am I am a comedian, and that's 90% what the job is you just watch things, and then you nowadays, I mean, you're like, remember this, you know, and people are like, yes, dude, yes,
Hilarious.
right, exactly. So,
Didn't South Park call those? Were they member berries?
pretty much, yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it works. Yeah, that's what comedy is.
What
What?
do you think?
It's
what?
a job.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's a living. Remember that from the Flintstones? The bird, laugh.
oh,
Laugh,
yeah,
laugh,
'cause you
laugh,
always
laugh,
do
laugh.
that.
The
Oh, shit.
Flintstones bird. We all remember the
Yeah, yeah,
Flintstones
yeah.
bird. See? That's how it works.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this real? What is this?
Is it real? What do you mean? As in, what,
Is it a
an
real
illusion?
plant or is it a
Are you
plastic?
asking if it's like a living, breathing? It's real. It's not. You can see it. It's not like a 3D fucking projected image.
Okay. Well, hold on. We could be in the Matrix.
Oh, I remember the Matrix. You
Yeah,
did it again. The
but-
reference. Yeah.
We could be in the Matrix.
Okay.
Do you disagree with that?
We could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you better save that energy for Marianne, because I don't think she would be happy to find out
That she's in the Matrix. That I think we could
you
be.
don't think that it's even a possibility.
Of course, I think it's a possibility.
Well, then how can you tell me with certainty? You know that's not even the question that I'm asking. I'm
What's the
asking
question you're
I'm asking if it's a real plant. You know I'm asking that.
I don't. You showed up in a fucking
What does-
Alaskan
how-
Inuit hat and
Yeah, because I have intention.
okay. Well, maybe
I
the
said
intention is to
I
ask
put
me
these-
bizarre.
I put-
No, 'cause
I
what
put
happened
these
is you would have
clothes
said, "Is
on-
this
I
real?"
put-
And I would say, "No, it's fake." And you
I
go,
put
"Really?"
these
Because I can
clothes
touch
on
it. And you would
6
have
weeks
fucked me.
ago,
Yeah.
and I haven't changed them because I said these are the clothes that I want to wear, right? Because I have
As soon as we
intention.
reached out to invite you 6 weeks ago, you're like, "This is the outfit."
These are I said I'm gonna put it on. I have a funny story to tell.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know if you'll like it.
Okay,
It probably
I'm sure I
won't be
will.
a funny story, but I mentioned it recently. There was a comic in DC named Jake Young, who was a very funny guy, but he was part of this like nerd comedy thing. He was a nerd. He was like a
Okay.
big fat guy, like comic books and movies and stuff. Funny comic, you know. But he got an opportunity to open for Brian Posehn. You probably don't know who that is. He's Patton Oswalt's like Ernie to Patton's Bert, essentially.
gotcha,
Yeah, so
gotcha.
he's like this big guy. They had a thing together called the Comedians of Comedy, and Jake, this was a big opportunity for Jake to open for Brian Posehn, and he knew that Brian Posehn liked smoking weed, and Jake didn't smoke weed, so he went to our friend Jordan, and he was like, this was like a month before the show. He's like, can you roll me a joint so that when I'm in the green room with Brian Posehn, I can be like, oh, you don't happen to want to smoke a joint, do you? You know, and pull out a joint. And so Jordan's like, yeah, sure. And like Jake was like, really? And he's like, yeah, of course. And he's like, great. And then Jordan's like, well, you meant like right now? And he's like, well, yeah. And then I would just hold on to it. So he had Jordan roll him a joint a month in advance, right? The Brian Posehn joint. And he held on to the joint. And he held on to it for like 3 weeks. And then one night, Jordan and Jake, they went to go see Wall-E, right? And Jordan tells him, he's like, Jake, you just plan to just hand him a joint and then not smoke it yourself? You know? Like, that would be weird. He's like, you should smoke weed. And then so Jake's like, oh, god damn, you're right. I didn't even think about that. So he like pops his cherry and he smokes the Brian Posehn joint at Wall-E, which you know what Wall-E is, right?
Yeah, the Pixar movie.
Okay, right. Yeah,
With the robot. Yeah,
right.
I got that one. Don't worry.
And then he had to run out of the theater because he thought the people next to them were texting the police that he was high. And he was 28 at the time.
It was the first time he'd ever smoked or something?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess?
it was the
Okay.
first time, but he smoked his special Brian Posehn joint. And I guess that relates to you mentioning that I picked out my outfit 6 weeks before.
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
What a
So,
what
okay,
a
all right.
relational story. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's charming.
Did he ruin
I
his
think
like
it's-
reputation
I
with
think
the
it's
guy, or
sweet.
did
People
they
like
did they
Wall-E.
end up getting along afterwards? Or was
I
it like
don't
a cute...
even remember what happened. I just remember thinking it was so funny that he had to leave Wall-E because he thought people were texting the police that he was high. I mean, that's pretty funny to me.
Do you smoke a lot of weed?
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't really do anything anymore. A lot of
Except
green
playing the
tea.
Control on the Switch or PlayStation or whatever, huh?
Yes, that. Yeah, I play games. I read. I watch movies. I ride the exercise bike. That's been a big thing. It's part of the waking up early. Is I've been trying to. You have an Apple Watch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you get you probably, I would be shocked. I don't even want to know this information because it would upset me. But does it tell you your cardio fitness is low?
That's personal health information. I don't release that. I'll tell you off.
Okay, well, my watch is like you're dying. Like it just
Yeah.
tells me that all the time. So I'm trying to
Get your cardio up.
Yeah, right. So I go for walks and I try to, get my heart rate down and my pace up and stuff and yeah. Which I've never really done before. I thought about the other day. I'm like, because I've never gone for a run. I don't think once in my life ever. Maybe once or twice. And I was
Just
like,
the
I can't-
exercise bike.
Well, the exercise bike is new, but it was like maybe I should start running. And I think I just approached it the wrong way because I'm an idiot, right? So like anytime the one or two times I've tried to run, I'm like, you go outside and you run as fast as possible until you're out of breath, and then you take a cab home. And it's like that's not the way.
It's like impressive to fuck up running that hard.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been doing it for like hundreds of thousands
Oh
of
well,
years.
yeah. My in my mind, the way you get better at like any type of cardio
Is
is
by taking a cab at the end of it.
well, you go as hard as you can, and then the next time, but then you're just going to exhaust yourself, which obviously is probably intuitive to a lot of people. But
Mhm.
yeah, you can start running by just going slow as shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Are you gonna do any more stand up?
Probably have to. I mean, that's
Jeez, that's kind of depressing.
That
Okay.
that pays a bill. Well, I don't have anything written. I at the end of the year I kind of wrap up the hour, and so I gotta like write a new hour before I can go back out on the road because I don't want to hit markets and like go back to a town and then have people see the same shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have an hour right now that you currently perform?
No,
or-
I'm done. I
okay.
toured all last year on like basically the same group of ideas. So I got to figure something else out, which would require. That's the other problem is like stand up's only at night. I told my agents if you can figure out how to put together. I don't care if I made like 12 grand a year doing it, but if you could put together a tour where all the shows
or
are
like
at
2 p.m.
10:30 in the morning. Get people. I'll do fucking AA meetings. I don't care, but like get it out of the way in the beginning of the day. That would be a dream come true.
Do you have like a dream venue you want to do stand up in
That
you haven't been able to?
No, I mean, the comedy clubs, they kind of figured out the formula for what makes a good comedy club in the 1980s. Like, the best clubs are, and every comic says this, it's like, oh, smaller, more intimate stuff, but like Side Splitters in Tampa, that club's like perfect. That's it. It's just Side Splitters, I'd say. No, the Hyenas in Fort Worth, that's a great club.
Are these all places you performed in before?
Mhm.
or-
Yeah, yeah.
When you're writing like a new hour's worth of material, I'm curious as your life slows down, not to say that that's what's happened to you. Do you find it hard to like talk about stuff more or
No, because it's like, I mean, and then maybe I could just be lazy, but it's like really the more you do stand up, the less it's like a discrete process of writing and performing. You have to learn how to like kind of synthesize the two. So writing a new hour is just going up on stage and bombing over and not having anything to say until there's like one thing here, and then you kind of just like piece it together. And then after like a weekend or two, you have generally an hour that you can say, and then you figure out how to make it funnier as like the year goes on.
is it just you or do you ever get like feedback from comic friends or you just
No,
kinda, like, go by
that
the
kind of
audience
stuff is
and-
all like, you do that when you're like younger, I'd say, but I don't know any like, like comics that have been doing it 15, 20 years that like sit down and write with friends or get feedback from friends or any of that stuff. Maybe, I don't think anybody does that.
Besides the stand up stuff, are you doing anything besides the production stuff on the Adam Friedland show or
No, and that's the other thing. I mean, I'm at sort of a crossroads, I guess, in my career. I got to figure
Mhm.
out what's next, and then I don't really have anything to offer people outside of that. Like, I would love to get in on whatever this is, where the Democrats are like,
you're in on it right now, dude.
I know, but if the Democrats were coming to me and they're like, you have to tell us about this game Control and the
Mhm.
Brian Posehn joint, I would be like, maybe we'll see. I'll need.
You have to balance it out with all your other big media
I will
connections.
be needing some $1,000, please. Or whatever Marianne Williamson is paying
Yeah.
you. Whatever you're being paid for by notorious Zionist Marianne Williams.
Yeah, George Soros, I think, covers most of this. But
Does anybody know that guy? Does he have any friends? Is he
Soros?
getting calls in the middle of the day from like Bert, his best friend? He's like, "Can you see what these motherfuckers are saying about you?" And he's like, "Just forget about it, Bert. Who gives a shit?"
I really don't know.
Who is George Soros?
That's
Who
a
the
good
fuck
question.
is that?
And it's very frustrating too, because like people talk about,
It's just
Elon is
some
like the
g-
new Soros. Like, where the fuck is the
But
Soros
you
money
see
at?
Elon all the
Yeah, I
fucking
know,
time. We all
everywhere, yeah.
intimately know how much this guy sucks or doesn't, whatever your opinion of him is, right?
Yeah.
I know fucking nothing about George Soros.
I feel like he went to like the World Economic Forum.
How
once
much
and said
I hear
something,
his
and then-
name, I should
yeah,
know what his penis looks like at this point.
At least.
How often I've heard the name George Soros? Who is he? I know he made one deal. He bet against the British pound or the sterling or something like that, right? That's where he made all his money.
I don't know.
One big gamble. That's it. That's the
I have
only
no
thing.
clue.
Okay.
I just know I don't see any of his shit anywhere, which is very frustrating. We
Yeah.
need a George Soros.
But what is
right
his
now.
shit? That's what I mean. What is his
I
shit?
think it's like philanthropy and like worldwide shit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was an investor that like he bet right one time, and now he's like, yes, let's fucking do George Floyd or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Let's
Was he on the George Floyd part of that or the
I
Derek
think
Chauvin side of that?
he paid Derek. My understanding of the theory is he paid Derek Chauvin to kill George Floyd so that they could do riots,
Oh shit.
and that Kyle Rittenhouse could shoot that pedophile that I think molested George Soros' son, and so I think that's
That would make sense.
That's my understanding of the events.
Oh, that's why when they put George in the back of that car, he's like, I need to be on the ground.
Yeah,
As they say,
right.
'cause
They put him in the
they
back
already
first.
had like
He's
rehearsed it, and they
he's
knew
like,
that.
you
Yeah.
gotta kill me.
Yeah, I gotta
You
die.
gotta kill me so my wife can get the $50.
Oh shit! And that's why
Yeah.
it took him so long, because he was like, Derek probably legitimately felt some internal turmoil, because he's
Yeah.
like, this is an innocent guy I have to kill.
Well, he has a fake knee. You didn't know that, did you?
Fake knee.
His legs are plastic.
Jesus.
Yeah, Derek Chauvin has
Do you
plastic.
think he put like rocks in them that night so he could?
Yeah, he
lean
had
on
to
him
weigh
even
down.
heavier?
Yeah, like a bobsled.
Jeez.
You ever see Cool Runnings?
Finally.
You've seen it?
Yes. What an
Oh,
amazing movie.
It's a great movie.
Wait. Hold on. Hold on.
Maybe
One
you
sec.
just
Is it
haven't-
John Candy? Was that the guy? Or did I get the name
Yeah,
wrong?
he's the coach.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
That's now. This is real, true cinema. Yes.
Yeah. And then he was
Amazing
a
movie.
disgraced bobsled guy because he got caught weighing down his bobsled.
True.
And
Cheated.
he's like, maybe I'll get a couple of blacks to do my job for me. And then he went down to Jamaica and then taught them bobsledding. And is it a true story?
It must be, right?
I
It's so
think so.
inspirational.
Yeah,
Fuck,
yeah.
if that's not a true story, I'm gonna feel real bad now.
Every time I hear it, it'll never make me like, I'll never stop chuckling at the idea that there was a famous fat man named Jonathan Candy. I mean, that's
Listen, if we have Anthony Weiner, okay.
Imagine you met a big fat guy and you're like, what's your name? And he's like, Jonathan Candy. You know, I mean, it's like, come on, man.
Somebody's got to live your life.
Yeah,
you know?
Eric Cinnabon. And I'm 450 pounds. Nothing.
What I don't know how to follow this up.
What? Think of other
Is this
people.
the slowest you've been? I don't know anybody. Eric Cinema's not a real name.
The slowest I've been.
What about the slowest your life has been?
Oh, the slowest.
Like, is
my
this
life
like the
has
most
been.
transitional period of
I
your
don't
life?
know. We discovered the other night we're birthday brothers, right? We're the same age.
Oh, because you were born like a day after me, right?
No, we figured it out with the time zone. I was actually born before you, but
Okay.
yeah.
I don't think that's how that works.
That's
but
well,
okay,
yeah. No, we did.
Gotcha.
I'm older than you.
Wait, in '88, we're like the exact same.
we're the
almost.
exact same age, dude.
Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that like intimidating that you see me like doing so much stuff and you're like taking cabs home
Well,
after running? Or?
I don't see you doing so much stuff. I'm pretty checked out.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. What I've seen you
Too
do
many
is
video games.
what I've seen you do is the Adam Friedland show, which is fine. What's wrong with video games?
Nothing.
No,
If you're
I
a
mean
child.
maybe now that I know that you're getting fucking Soros money, it's like yeah, I'm jealous of that. Does that make you feel good? Is that what you want people to feel? You want them to feel bad because
Yes.
you're doing
and
well?
intimidated. Yeah.
Yeah,
But only because I'm trying to make you better.
is it better in what way?
You've seen the movie
Everybody's
Whiplash?
on their own path. Do
Seen-
you want somebody who works at a grocery store to feel bad when they see you doing well?
Yeah, he should be an assistant manager.
Well, then who the fuck is going to work at the grocery store?
A new kid who's going to be brought in and made to feel bad,
so
so that he can become the
child
assistant
labor
manager.
is what you want. You want an endless.
I just
stream
want a
of
continuous
child
treadmill
slaves.
of people being pressured to be better. That's the American dream.
No, it's not. People should be free to exist as they are. We need people that don't want to do shit other than work in a grocery store.
Really, what if they exist as pedophiles?
That's not a job.
It can be.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll be parading them all through this studio.
Epstein and Tate,
Yeah, right.
didn't these guys make a living doing stuff?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, there
But
you
would
go.
you say that his job was pedophile? I don't think that was his job.
Maybe it was like a qualification for the job.
In the same way that like a janitor's job isn't garbage.
No,
You know
but
what I
being able to
mean?
like
It's
deal with
like-
garbage is probably like
Exactly, that makes him a janitor, right? So
Yeah.
Epstein isn't, his job isn't being a pedophile. Imagine a janitor that every once in a while finds like half of a Big Mac in the trash and he's like, ooh, yum, 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 yum. And one for me, perhaps. That's how he talked. Did you
Yeah.
know that?
Yep, I believe it because I bet his name would have been John Cheeseburger,
Yeah.
right? Get it? Yeah.
Yeah, John Cheeseburger. But he wasn't fat. If his name was Jonathan Fucks Children. Hi, I'm actor Jonathan Fucks Children. Breaking news. Actor Jonathan Fucks Children caught with child pornography.
Jesus.
Shocking news.
Shocking news.
Yeah,
This happened with Anthony Weiner, right?
it did. Yeah.
Unfortunate. I like
Yeah.
that guy a lot.
But you knew he had a penis. I mean, literally
True.
any man
But
could
it's
be
still a
named
little
Anthony
bit-
Weiner.
somebody in that courtroom was giggling when they were.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
Fuck.
Was he the one that he was Carlos Danger? That was his.
Carlos Danger?
Isn't that what he like called himself?
That sounds like
online?
a Mexican superhero.
Yeah, no, that was his like. Wasn't Carlos Danger Anthony Weiner's like nom du fuck?
I don't know what Carlos Danger is. I have no idea.
Could somebody fact check that?
Is that
Is
a
that
comic
right?
book name or
It's right. Yeah.
what is that?
That's what he would call himself over text messages
Oh,
when he was.
okay.
Yeah. When he was. I don't even remember what he got in trouble for, other than he like cheated on what's her name, Huma Abedin. Is that it?
That sounds like a brand of hummus.
No, it's like she worked at. She's Hillary Clinton's hummus manager.
She was her aide. I
She
think,
gets all of her her
because
hummus.
they got
Hillary's-
they got more emails
Yeah.
that way. I remember that the emails. That was
Hillary's
a big deal.
Hillary's embryo hummus. She grinds them all up. Grinds them all up. She's like, "Where's my pita bread? I need my embryo hummus."
Hey, have you seen a movie called?
I can't be saying these things on your show, man. I'm gonna
You can say
blow it
whatever
for you
want,
with the
dude. You're
Democrats.
fine. Don't worry.
We're trying
They're
to-
in transit right now, so
See,
she's not watching.
this is the difference. It's
Yeah.
like I see you doing well, and I'm like, "How can I help?" And I can't. I can only make things worse, right? But in my heart, what I want to do is help. That's
This
the
is
difference.
endurance training.
I
for
don't
me.
want
It's good,
people.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want
This is
people.
fine.
What does that mean? It's endurance training.
Like if I can survive this,
What?
like I'm
Come
good
on,
to go.
man.
That's
What do
good.
What do I need to do
I'm
for you to
running
have
as
a good
fast
time?
as I can to the end of the block, and Marion is my cab ride back. That's what we're doing right now.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm sorry.
Shut up! Don't apologize. Now you
I'm
make me feel like an
fucking
asshole.
blown.
Like I'm bullying you.
Well, you're an asshole if you want the people who don't have,
thought you said
an
you had a lot.
illustrious streaming career.
Working
No,
on
I got
the-
going to the sauna. I got fucking.
People can hear you in all of the Adam Friedland videos laughing in the background sometimes, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I was actually only there. That was the first one I went to in a while.
Oh, I'm so honored.
Yeah.
I think. Why'd
That
you come
one,
to
and I
mine?
went to the Tom Fontana one, which will probably never come out.
You didn't go to the Cuomo one?
I was out of town.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I would've
no,
been
I wasn't there for
So
that.
mad. What the fuck? How did you guys get him?
We had a talent booker for a while. So when we first started the show, it's funny because it's like things kind of what we set out to do initially, we put all the pieces in place right away. But then things kind of like fell apart. The main thing was like, I don't want to. The talent booker did kind of fuck us to a certain degree. But
And then having to do all the red painting on the risers.
red paint.
and
Well,
everything,
that part was fun, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to get your,
The Ukrainian Santa Claus
get your hands
guy.
covered in. Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy.
Okay, so you had a talent booker. It fell
We had a
apart,
talent booker.
But
So the talent booker, we paid a lot of money to the talent booker. It's like it's a big talent booking firm.
okay.
And so they got us Cuomo, they got us Neil deGrasse Tyson, and then that was it. Out of like a pretty big, I think maybe one other. They got us Tom Fontana, which was who I
that
suggest.
for?
I was like, oh, you should do Tom Fontana. That'd be fun. And then I don't think Adam will ever release that interview.
What the fuck?
Well,
Wait, am I allowed to ask?
He only had 30. He was only there 30 minutes, and like Adam, I don't think really knew who
30
he was.
minutes,
Yeah,
damn.
they got Ernie Hudson also.
Where is the fans want to know?
Mm-hmm.
Where is the Hassan episode?
Well, you would know this. It's Adam Adam edits his stuff. They're his interviews and he crafts the narrative. But
He edits it himself?
well, a guy edits and
Okay,
he
okay.
stands there
Close
vaping
enough,
and he
okay.
goes, like fucking. He goes, he loves words. Adam loves he'll hear a word he'll
Okay.
pick up a technical jargon. That's what he loves. His
Okay.
jargon. So he'll go J cut, and then people were like, what the fuck are you talking? He heard someone say J cut. He loves saying radio edit. He's like, we're gonna do a radio pass on it first.
Okay, all right.
You know? But no, I think like a hefty chunk of the labor is taking out all of the vaping, because Adam doesn't want his dad to see him vaping, and then he'll like.
So it's taking. Wasn't this like a year old?
I don't know when they.
It's taking that long to cut vaping out.
Well, then they moved on to they did yours, and I think he shot some other. I don't know. I don't.
Jesus. Okay.
I for the last 2 years, what this has been is like, I have my like gay little art projects that I want to do, you know, and so I just insert those into this because there's no place for them otherwise, and it's basically been embezzlement by me to do like not even sketches, but just shoot weird things. And now that's probably come to an end, I guess. But
why do you say that?
Well,
I told you before.
because I don't think it would be fair going on beyond this point. I
Fuck
think
that.
I'm hamstringing.
You just take. Be a taker. I told you when my audience we were watching the Cuomo episode that it was really funny because it was like split where half of them were like, skip this gay shit. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. And the other half were like, you can't skip it. This is the most
ballet.
important stuff.
Yeah,
At the beginning of the
The answer is neither. It's like I had an idea and I wanted to do something. You know,
Well, it's still cool. I like it. I respect it.
yeah.
To be experimental, you got your cool little lenses and your 4x3 whatever shots.
4:3.
Yeah.
4:3. Which I guess it's like people thought that was because movies used to be in 4:3, but it's like what I wanted to do was, you know, I mean, we built the joke was like we would go on shows and I would say like we're doing a talk show like no one's ever seen before, and then it premieres and it's just the set of the longest running talk show that has ever been on TV, right? So that's why it's like the Dick Cavett. It was the joke in and of itself, right?
Okay.
And so, but I wanted 4:3 because I was, you know, it was broadcast on TV, so it's 4:3 and shoot it at what 30 frames per second or whatever.
I think TV is like isn't it like 23.94 or 29.97?
29.97, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're still doing? Do you want to be in? Would you want to be involved with that if you're not getting to do your cool art projects anymore? Like,
well, I don't. There's no real capacity for me to, you know. There's nothing for me to do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's depressing.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. It's fine.
Are you just gonna remove yourself from it?
I mean, it's yet to be seen, I guess. but I mean, essentially, yeah. I mean, like. Yeah, like if I were to continue, you know, like, hey, we have to do this thing. It's like it doesn't add it. It doesn't like as far as like, you know, especially on the internet. It's like you gotta, you know how it is. You gotta fucking like you constantly have to be streaming and putting stuff out and like doing stuff. And that's not really the way, or at least in terms of those contributions, how it'll ever really work. You know, it's like I kind of like to just how I've ever done anything is I sit around doing fucking nothing forever, and then every once in a while I'm like, oh, how about this? And then I'll do something, you know, and then maybe that'll happen 5 times in 6 months, and then maybe it won't happen for a year. I need to go back and like, I used to have these long periods. I would almost call it like soaking, where I would I would just consume, you know, media or whatever. I'd read, I'd watch movies, I'd draw, I'd do nothing. And then, you know, then if I wanted to do something, I would. But like, I don't really, I mean, podcasting was easy because it was just a conversation, but I don't like anything outside of that. I don't think I could really do as a, you know, like a content creator beholden to a schedule.
Do you feel like when you look at like how YouTube and pre-YouTube used to be, where it's just like a bunch of people who were kind of like, I just want to throw wacky shit online and see what works, as opposed to like the commercialized, whatever, you know, environment we live in now. Do you think that like something has been lost? Do you think it's better, worse, just different? How do you view it?
I'm really the wrong guy to ask because I'm not a YouTube guy. Like I was never on YouTube really. Like I didn't
never consumed any internet content.
Well, no, I mean I was on the internet when I was younger, but I would like you're talking about like being on like IRC, you know.
Okay.
I mean I'd be in like fucking chat rooms and stuff. When YouTube became a thing, I just never really gravitated towards YouTube. So I wasn't like even, you know, and I don't say this in the way you would, where it would be like a biting comment to be mean, but like,
you're about to say the meanest thing
No,
ever.
I'm not really familiar with like the stuff that you do at large or like what streaming, like I told
you.
Why
do you think I would say that to be mean?
Because you do that.
I would never do that.
You're like, so you're the shittiest comedian in the world? Ha And I'm like, well,
Jesus,
I don't know. Yeah,
enough for me to build a caracature of me in your.
Well,
head.
I don't know. You know, I was hoping to replace this guy with, Yeah, this gremlin idea I have.
Yeah, you dressed the part for it. So.
I do, yeah. But no, I just don't really. I was never really on YouTube. Even when we had the old podcast, it's like I never even thought to put it on YouTube. You know, because I'm like, what the fuck is YouTube? You know, I don't like. It just never really. Yeah, I didn't. I don't think in terms of like. I can't answer. Do I think something is lost because I don't know what it was versus what it is now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. When you put you on the Adam Freeland Show's YouTube channel, you put your comedy special up.
I did, yeah, just because I mean the comedy special, and it's I mean.
When you were filming that, were you thinking like this is going to go online, so I have to do it a little different, or was it just you just filmed whatever?
No, I knew it was going to go online because there wasn't going to be an opportunity to sell it. It's like that was. I mean, look, like the reality right now is since like COVID ended or whatever the reason is for it, the last couple of years there's been an insane amount of money in stand-up comedy, right? And I kind of really when I like moved to New York. I moved here just because I wanted to live in New York, and then I had a job. I had a freelancing contract with
typing. Okay.
And I got so good at typing. No,
You're like finally all that IRC time is like fucking okay.
Exactly,
so I got a job as a professional.
So I found that
secretary.
I have Parkinson's. I had a freelancing contract with. Do you remember the website Thought Catalog? It was
like
a bad
THOT or THOU?
THOUGHT.
No, I don't know.
It was a bad website that I had an ex-girlfriend that loved, and then she broke up with me. So I spitefully made a parody of Thought Catalog. And then the guy that owned Thought Catalog was like, hey, this is funny. Why don't you can just write these articles on my website that I own. And so I did this like mommy blogger character for like 2 years. And this was when I moved to New York. I moved here and I initially tried to go find a job, which the only way I've ever done that is by just going and like knocking on doors. And it was like right around the time where you can't do that anymore. You have to apply online and stuff. So at the time I was limited to like 6 articles a month. That was the contract they gave me. And it was like, I'd moved here. I was living in a small room in Chinatown. There was a acupuncturist, and the whole back of the floor was like cubicles basically that you could live in for like $300 a month. So it was like the second of the month. It was like a blizzard. I had walked around and couldn't find, like, I'm like, I don't know how to fucking find a job anymore, and I was like, let me just get my articles written for the month, now, so I know I have that $600 at least. And so in 2 days I just wrote the 6. I mean, they're just dumb like parody, like, haha, what if a drunk mommy blogger it's like listicle stuff like that. And 1 or 2 of them did well enough, like they got enough traction that the guy that owned the company brought me in, and he was like, look, we'll just give you carte blanche, do whatever the fuck you want. There's no cap on it. So then, like, as soon as I moved here, it was like I'd wake up in the morning, and at the time back then, 5 a.m., and then I'd write, I'd get my article off. I didn't have an internet in that place, so I'd write it, and then I would go to Dunkin' Donuts and send it off.
You didn't have this was during COVID.
No, this is like 2013.
Oh, this is way earlier. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is So sorry, then I'd send it off, and then
it's still weird you didn't have internet in 2013, but okay.
We didn't have internet in that.
Wait, real quick. When did Cumtown start?
Either 2016 or 2017. I want to say 2016.
Okay.
Because I remember it was around the same time Chapo did. Yeah, I think we both.
I'm gonna be honest, as not consumer of much of any of that. Chapo and Cumtown they still occupy like the same space in my mind.
Well, they occupied the same physical space.
Did they shoot in the same studio?
Look, this is what frustrates me.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe it's just my perception of things, but like I don't think I've ever once used, let alone described myself as like a dirtbag left. And like even Cumtown even being political in any way, it was like that all just stemmed from like, we're in the same, like these are my roommates.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Which, like, regardless of what my opinion, it's explicitly just a stupid podcast. It's like about being as dumb as possible, with your friends. But yeah, it did get that, like, for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know, being in Brooklyn and part of the same social circle around the same time. It's like, remember there was that guy, Jeff Stein.
Oh.
Jeff Stein, J. Stein Vox. He's at the Washington Post now, but
okay.
He wrote some article that was like, we got a problem with misogyny on the left. He wrote this article for it's like talking about, oh, we got to talk about Come Town. It's like, who the fuck? You're going to show this to your mom? You're like, your mom's like, you're right. We got a problem with Stav. We have a big problem with Stav saying his penis is small on the left and how that alienates. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then we ran into that guy in D.C.
Okay.
We saw him.
Randomly?
Yeah, randomly.
You hunted him down, absolutely. You probably got his itinerary.
I did. I hunted him down.
And you're like, so in the back of an Applebee's, we just happened to sit at the same table.
How dare you say there's no room for me on the left?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was outside the Florida Avenue Grill. And then it was very bizarre because he was like, as soon as we saw him, we were like, oh, Jay Steinfeld. We thought the article was funny.
How the fuck did you even know what he looked like?
Because he had his profile pics.
Yeah, he posts, and you click through, and you're like, I want to remember this motherfucker. If I ever see him in real life.
You would remember his face. Trust me. If you saw this guy's face, you would remember his face. He has a very unfortunate profile pic. He's actually, he's much more handsome in real life. He has a big nose, but in his profile picture, it's one of those noses that like pushes his lip down and covers his teeth.
Okay.
So it's like
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like a Mr. Potato Head, but okay.
Kind of, yeah. It's like, at the beginning where you can pull Mario's fucking nose down or that sort of thing.
Okay.
But then in profile, it's not as bad. That's what I remember. But we saw him.
So you guys jumped him in real life, and then
we didn't jump him. We saw him. We were like, "Oh, Jay Stein Vox." We're like, "Can we get a picture?" He's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry." He's like being apologetic, like. It's like we're not like yeah. You probably thought we're couple.
The dirtbag left us. You guys are talking about small dicks.
Yeah, these
probably
guys
beat the shit out of somebody, right?
They're gonna kick my ass.
Guy with a small dick has nothing to lose.
Right, exactly. It's like a Patrick Swayze character, I would imagine.
I've heard of that name before.
Yeah.
Totally.
Guy with a small dick, nothing to lose. He'll kick your ass because what does it matter?
Do you think your next online, or do you think your next 1 hour special is gonna go online?
No, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know if I did. I had a lot of fun doing stand-up in the last year, and I was doing like an hour that I know that would not tape well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just doesn't translate well? You think you'd get in trouble?
No. It just wouldn't translate well to video.
I'm curious, do you get irritated if do you want to be like known for something? Like if somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh, you were like the Comtown guy, as opposed to like the guy that does stand-up. You're like, fuck, I've done like better. You don't care?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just want to be happy.
That's such a vague, boring. Why not go do heroin?
Well, because in the end, it doesn't make you happy.
I mean, that's life, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I did kratom, and maybe I will do kratom sometimes. I've got another gum surgery coming up. I'll be on Percocet for that week.
Well, good luck.
And that will make me happy.
There you go.
You can't do Percocet every day, right?
You absolutely can until you die. Yeah. You can do Percocet for the rest of your life.
It may be vague, and it is stupid, and it's bullshit, but it's also true.
What?
Just wanting to be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when it's too vague, it's like.
But it's not. It's not vague. Maybe the path there is vague.
Yeah.
But as a goal, it's not vague at all. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Thank you. Good. Thanks.
Okay. Hour of stand-up that just materializes by bombing a ton. Do you warn people? Like when you go into a club, you're like, hey, I have to do, like, by the end of the year, this is going to be really funny, but you guys are like my first trial run.
You don't even really have to warn people. I mean, it's like, and that's why it's like, nice to do at a club, because clubs are like, the tickets are $20. It's like fucking, sometimes they have a 2-drink minimum, but you go out and you get drunk, and then, it's like, it's just supposed to be like a good time, and people are there to have a good time. So you can get away with, I call it like buffoonery, I guess, on stage in a lot of clubs. There's some clubs that are very much a skill check. And like you can't do that there. I would say maybe it's more towns than clubs.
Okay.
Like San Francisco, I would say, and Boston too. Both of those places you can't just go up and try to be like, just vibes and fucking, yelling or any of that stuff. They do want like jokes.
Do you have any desire to like be a part of the comedian community, or do you just like doing your own thing?
I don't know what that means.
Like, have you ever got invited to like co-host like a Kill Tony thing, or if you ever got like
you know what? Up until, to be honest with you, these are all like personal questions that have to do with me that wouldn't really apply to like being a comedian, I guess, or things I'm trying to figure out in my own life.
Like a comedian.
I know, but
it's
my answers aren't motivated by anything that has to do with comedy. Maybe it's related to what got me to do comedy in the first place, or whatever. But like, I would say no to doing Kill Tony for the same reason I would have prior to today said no to doing something like this, because it's like I don't really like. It's like I don't know. It's hard for me to explain, and these are like feelings that I've been trying to like figure out in my own head. Like honestly, in the last like 6 months,
Like out of like your comfort zone, or something you feel like you'd excel at? Or
Yeah,
something you feel
well,
like
that's a good way of putting it. Is a comfort zone, and it's not even really excelling at it. It's like I've spent most of my life being motivated by fear, right? And like I've done a lot of things that would seem like they were motivated by like desire or ambition or something, but it's always felt like I've been running away from myself towards like something different, right? And then luckily it just worked out that eventually it was like podcasting or stand up or something.
when you say that. Hold on. When you say fear, what do you mean by that?
Like just like I don't know, like fear of like having to spend time with myself. These are things. I also don't go to therapy, so I don't know the right way to describe what these emotions are.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I guess, yeah, to answer the question, and it wouldn't be being part of the comedy community, but yeah, fuck it, I do kill Tony. Why not?
Well, cool.
this
You just
point.
changed your answer in like 20 seconds there.
But
So I'm glad we
I'm
could
saying,
talk through that.
up
Okay.
until the same way that, like, 6 months ago, I said no to doing this because it's like I don't really know what's expected of me. It's like, is something expected of me? Is there something that people want that I don't know how to do?
Do you
know what
read
I mean?
like I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like read comments, or so like you said for stand up you don't talk to other comedians. You have the immediate feedback obviously of the audience.
see,
You have
I'm
you feel, but like how do you know
well, I don't, no, it's like, it's funny because I have pretty limited exposure to comments just because I like pay somebody to run my Instagram and stuff. And I'm not like on there. But it's like, even if I don't see comments, I can imagine them. It's like
but that doesn't tell you what the people actually
yeah, but
feel,
but that's what's important is what's going on inside my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but is that reflective at all of how other people feel about what you're doing?
It doesn't matter, because even then it's still like you're self-selecting. Even if you sat there and read every comment, if you have a negative disposition of yourself, you could have a million comments that say like, this was the best thing I've ever seen, and one guy being like, this is bullshit, right? And then it's like,
well, but you're aware. You just intellectualize that, so you're aware of it. So can't you just be aware of that and have that? Like, let's say you can you're watching Adam Freeland thing,
Yeah,
okay, and like there were like 100% of the comments were like, this was the worst thing ever because it didn't have that 5-minute like artsy thing in the beginning that we know that Nick likes to do,
That's
right?
not what people are saying.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, see, so you do know. Okay, but then as opposed to, let's say there's a comment section where everybody's like, this was so good, I'm so glad you dumped the Nick shit. Like, in both of those worlds, do you not think that you feel a little bit differently about it and move in a slightly different direction based on what you see people
You say,
saying?
does that have an effect or not?
Would it have an effect? Yeah.
I'm sure it would. Well, no. How it would affect? How would it affect what? What do you mean? My emotions that moment, or what I would do with my life?
What would you do with your life? Yeah.
It wouldn't, because it's like ultimately, like I'm going to. I also do things because I want to. It's like before I had anything, like I would sit and I would draw, and it might affect my feelings about myself and my work, and such that like I don't put things out. But I will still work, and I find satisfaction in that. So things might end up more in the drawer, but I mean.
So you said you want to do like another hour for this year of stand up.
Well, I have to tour.
So what is motivating that? Is it you have to make money? You enjoy doing stand up? You like the audience?
Yeah. Well, I do enjoy stand up.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Do you enjoy any aspect? If you could make here's a question.
Yeah.
Okay. There are two worlds. In one, you make twice the money, but there's no audience. Some guy, George Soros, pays you to do the exact same stand-up.
But that's not what
audience.
stand-up is.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's one world. And then in the other world, you make half the money, but you have like 5 times the audience, the laughter, the engagement. Like people will just love it. It's like so much better. Which world do you prefer here? Like if you're thinking.
It's because it's like you kind of have to understand what stand-up is. Stand-up is like, it's not like, and that's kind of why I don't really like stand-up. It's the people that are really good at it. They're like natural performers, right? And for me, it's all like, especially when I started and like when I took it, seriously, and it was what I cared about. It was like, it was sort of like a technical process, and then you check your work with an audience, right? So the idea of like a bunch of people like liking something, even if I crush, even if I do well, it's like the feeling now is like, well, that's what the job is, and that's what I should do. You know what I mean? So that doesn't even really feel like good per se. It's
do you
sort of
ever
like checking
have a
box.
night like where you're like, tonight like I killed it. The audience was either like we were just super vibey with each other, or I just whatever deliver on a
What
certain whatever. Do you ever have like a really standout night, or
no,
is it all just like okay,
what
well,
what makes a set good for me is if I can find a tangent and something new comes out of it. And sometimes that happens and it bombs. It goes terribly, but I know that I think it's funny, and that's all that matters. Like really. You know, at some point hopefully people laugh at it, or if I can figure out how the idea works. But finding something new in with that time on stage is what I get of it. That's the part of it that I like. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out what the because I've heard dueling motivations for what you do between fear, have to do a job.
Well, fear. I mean, in
like
terms of
stand-up,
in terms of a
like,
lot of
yeah.
decisions I've made in my life overall.
Mhm.
I don't mean in terms of like, yeah, why I would do stand up. Why I've been doing stand up in the last 2 years. It's like, yes, I do enjoy doing it, and I've invested a lot of time in it. You know, I mean, I was saying, you know, when I got here, I did start to get paid to write, and then writing got me representation. Like, you know, I got management off writing, and then I was working with comics that I respected because of writing, who I had worked with as a stand-up comedian years prior, and they didn't remember me as a stand-up comedian. You know, they were like, oh yeah, that was you, right? So my stand-up, and also I spent a lot of time as like a middle act, like a feature act, and you have to learn how to just not get fired, I guess, you know, or not like, you know, fucking ruffle feathers. So when Come Town like kind of took off, and it's like I did have this opportunity to line up shows I could go headline. I'm going out and I'm doing jokes about like food, you know, all this just like bullshit. So I think people were kind of confused as to, you know, like the reality is I've only been doing stand up as like a headlining professional since 2022. You know, it's only like 2.5 years, I guess.
Does it? It's just like one thing that I feel like I'm missing this. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Is the passion. And but like maybe this is like your way of expressing yourself. So and I don't know you as well
Yeah.
because I'm curious because I feel like for some people if this was a Lifetime movie, this is where you'd be like, and in 2022 I could finally headline. But now you're like, it's a little bit different. You know, I'm trying.
Well, it's for me. It feels like I started doing stand up in 2005, so I've been doing it close to 20 years now. And I.
But was there like excitement in 2020? You're like, I'm headlining, like the dream.
For the first decade, yeah. If you could go back 15 years and show myself where I am now, I'd be like, I didn't grow taller. You know, I would be pretty upset about that. But everything else, I was just like, you know, that would be the dream. But I like my assessment of my like of stand up or my ability to do it is what I said. There's like stand up as a medium to be great at it, to be really great at it, and not just somebody that can write jokes. You do have to have like some sort of natural like charisma or like the ability of a performer that I don't think has ever really come natural to me. And I got to a point where it was just like, I don't see myself ever having that. What I can continue to do is write jokes, right? I can continue to write more jokes and I can go perform them. But I feel like I kind of tapped out as far as my performance potential was concerned, like 10 years ago. And then, or even, you know, maybe even longer than that. And you know, 10 years ago, this is also incredibly boring stuff. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. I think it's interesting.
But you know, I had done Just for Laughs in Montreal. I did New Faces, which at the time that was like a pretty big, you know, that was the brass ring if you grab it, you know, and it didn't lead to anything, you know, and it was like, it just seemed, I looked down in the road and it was like, okay, maybe you get a Conan spot. That's $200. That's it. And then those weren't translating to headlining gigs at the clubs either. And then things really started to get dire, like, cause, and this was kind of my exposure to YouTube stuff in real life. I went to Caroline's one time. And I was like friendly with the bartender, so I went to talk to him. I was in the neighborhood. And the door swings open for the showroom, and like a 10-year-old boy with no expression on his face, like comes out on a scooter. I was like, what the fuck? You know, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I don't know. There's like a YouTube guy there. And this was like, yeah, like 2014, 2015. So, you know, I go in the showroom and there's like a middle-aged man dressed like a child. And he's like, just remember, you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. And he was some like popular YouTuber with 10-year-olds. And he's doing the weekend at the club. And they're like, well, he sells tickets. And it's like, this is really bad, that this is the direction things are going, that the clubs are getting filled up by, you know, YouTube guys. And that still exists with a certain extent with TikTok guys. And then I'll say this is how I feel, because I did start headlining like, 2 or 3 years ago, like all the clubs. I could go through all the clubs and headline. And when I was a young comic, and it really meant a lot to me, and I like loved comedy, and I would do the things you're talking about, where I was like, my friends were comedians, and we'd go do shows, and we'd come home, and we'd talk about bits, and I'd write things out, and I'd be thinking about it all the fucking time, and it was the only thing that mattered to me. You would see the guys that would come in, they're like, oh, he's on a sitcom, or he's an actor or something, and he's headlining a club because he's an actor, and you don't have any respect for those guys, right? You're not hanging out with those guys. It's like you and the host are hanging out, or like you're not excited to meet those guys, but you understand that they sell tickets, and that's who comes through. And then I started headlining, as like a guy that had a popular podcast. I gave up on stand up basically 10 years ago, and so it was kind of like a bittersweet thing where
Square this for me, because earlier I asked you.
Yeah.
I think I understand the difference, but I'm just because earlier I asked
You're asking me where the passion was.
No. Earlier I asked you.
I feel that I saw it.
Do you get upset when people think about you as like a Comtown guy versus like a comedian guy? Now it feels like there is kind of like a little bit of a like.
But it's not what people think about me. It's what I think of myself.
Okay.
And that's kind of what people think of me wouldn't bother me if I didn't have negative opinions of myself.
Okay.
And the negative opinions of myself is what would preclude me from doing something like, fuck it, yeah, I'll do Kill Tony, I'll do this. I don't care if I look like an idiot. I don't care if I bomb or I have nothing to say.
Because in your mind you think you'd be there because you were a YouTube guy, not like a comedian guy?
No, just because I think I would do bad. I mean, it's simple.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like I would just like, it's whatever things that like I've just tried to like let those thoughts go. It's the preempting of not necessarily other people's opinions, because it's like, am I making sense here with what I say, in that it's like it's not that comments would ring true. It's that they only have an ability to affect you if they're on some level in your head was like, I've already said that about myself.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't like, I don't like that I feel those things about myself, because ultimately I'm not a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just some fucking guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want to live my life that way.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, fine. Yeah. Maybe I am a shit. Maybe I'm not even going to say it. Like, maybe I'm a shitty comic. Like, who cares? Who cares? Fuck it. I'll come do this. I'll do Kill Tony. I'll do whatever.
Okay.
I just want to have a good time.
I kind of understand what you mean about the, if you're like big in YouTube, you can be big in anything, even if you don't deserve it. So like, I went to school for music for a little bit, and then I quit because I was working too much. But like, today I could release like an album of like bullshit piano stuff that would be like high school level at best, but I could outsell probably 99% of musicians in the world who are infinitely more talented than me, just because I have like the YouTube presence.
Well, let me ask you this: were you passionate about music at some point before this? So that's something you would have wanted to do, want to have done.
But right? I would feel dumb if I'm getting invited to a thing and I know that my performance is not where I want it to be, but I'm getting invited because I've got like a big YouTube
and then
show
here's where it's like further complicated, is that like I didn't make it as a stand-up comedian, but I did do it with comedy. Right, I did do it by being funny on a comedy podcast and all this shit. And so it's like hard to really kind of parse out those feelings, because, if you were to put out an album, if you were going to tour as a concert pianist and everyone's like, it's great, you'd never believe them, because you'd think, like maybe you'd be like, yeah, I am pretty good at piano, but not like it's this other thing that brought it.
Yeah.
If you had been doing musical debate, let's invent a thing. Like it's like you and Hassan's like, bro, you gotta fucking, you can't even be thinking that way, bro. And you're like, well, you're wrong. I don't think so, pal. And you're playing the piano the whole time. And
it still would be kind of weird.
It would be very weird.
And it would be more difficult to parse out, because you are using your talent there, but it's not like in the same way.
I know, but I'm beating a hammer, like I'm hammering an analogy out here.
Yeah, no.
This fucking, so let's say that there's some aspect of what.
Or when I say it's weird, I'm saying the feeling would be weird, because I wouldn't know if
Yeah, you wouldn't, it would, but there's still a part of it is like, the piano playing that led to that.
It also probably hurts it to like a layman. It would be like, oh, like you're a stand-up comic, so you could probably be like in a really funny comedy movie.
Yeah.
Or if there's like an actor who's like in a funny comedy movie, I bet he could do stand-up because he's like a funny guy, because it seems like all the same shit to everybody.
And then there's another aspect of it that's like how much of it is just, it's like I am older now. And then even if I had gone that traditional route, I would still be 20 years older than I was. And like how much of that passion or excitement stays with you, and how much of what I'm feeling is not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's fraudulence, because that's just sort of the way the system works. Is like you do have to find success doing something else before you can headline anymore. But or get popular on social media somehow. It's not a merit-based system where you're just like the best fucking feature in the world and then they start letting you headline the clubs. But it's like, let's say it was, and I did work my way up in some pure sense. It's like how much of what I'm feeling is just, I'm middle-aged now, and I remember being young and having that
Jesus
hunger.
Christ.
What? I mean, no, that's like a natural thing. I think people
We're
feel
the
that
same
way.
age. Calm, slow down, okay? Damn.
Yeah, I don't know, but you're.
What would an exceptional year this year look like for you? Like a dream, not like a I survived and I'm doing okay.
I would
What would
like
like an exceptional year be?
I like really if I can see a project through, and I have like a couple of irons in the fire with different things. I don't really know what's going to materialize yet. But if I could just see a project through to completion, and then it's also something that grants me a feeling of feeling excited about getting like lost in the work itself. It's like, with I don't know if you do, like, when you would make music or something, you'd work creatively. There's an aspect of locking yourself away in a room doing it, right? And I would do that, like, even when we had the podcast. I remember there was like Stav went to Greece for like 6 weeks, and like I wrote an iPad app to replace him, and I'm not a coder, but I mean I can sit down and like do a Swift tutorial and figure out how to put an app on the iPad. And so I just, but it was like that, and I don't like whatever, it's like programming or whatever. There's a creative aspect to that, but it's like not something that I'll never do it again, but like it just having being able to like lock myself away, learn something, craft something small and work on something small like that, and then put it out. It's like getting lost in that process. And it's just describing the feeling rather than the thing itself, because the thing itself is just a soundboard I wrote, having access to that feeling again is very important to me, which I did have last year. I don't know. It's like if you saw it, we did the Rob Schneider episode, and I shot like a 12-minute little like short video for that one, and making that, the whole process of making that, it did feel very much like I feel something, I can write it, and then I can see it made, and then edit it and put it together, and yeah, that felt good. So something even, it's more about the feeling rather than the scope of the thing, because I don't know what it could be. I've tried to make this point before, and I've said it. This might be like, there was one time when I was a kid when I got a bunch of garbage. Sorry, I'm like,
Oh no, you're good. I'm just making sure I went over time.
here. Yeah, I got a bunch of garbage from McDonald's, and I made a diorama of a living room set. Like just one afternoon. I don't know why I did it. I took the bottom of like a Big Mac cup and I folded it in, made like a little coffee table and the apple pie boxes, and made like like couches and chairs and stuff. And it's like, there's no audience for that. That's not anything. It's not a skill. It's just like something like that. But just like for whatever reason, getting into the meat of like, it's like a door that opens, that's what I want. And it's, it's abstract. So I don't know.
When I think about like just from what you've told me, maybe there's examples that I just don't know, but of the projects that you kind of like dove into, you've had a lot of fun with, and like the evolution of your career, it seems like a lot of it was building off of stuff that you were kind of already doing. It's like you broke up with the girl, you wrote the articles, you got drafted by the website because you were writing well, you met people, you do all this, right? And then even some of the creative stuff, like the app, like came from Cumtown and everything, kind of not from it, but directly.
Yeah, but I'm talking about.
No, wait.
Okay, sorry.
My question for you is that like, do you ever worry? Or have you ever thought deliberately about finding stuff to do that's just totally outside of like a connection to anything you're doing now? So you mentioned like the McDonald's thing. Like, do you think there could be like a creative project where like I would love to skate, but because of your current life, that would just never be something that would come up? Like, you ever search for stuff like that?
I do stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's like my girlfriend's we live in a brownstone or whatever. And
what's that mean? Fill me in. I'm a
Well,
Floridian.
It means like, the construction is like this, or if it was dressed up, it's all like, I put a closet rod up for clothes and it spans like 72 inches. So you need a support in the middle of the closet rod somewhere.
Okay.
But then there's all this on the walls, and the walls are all like, plaster. and then sometimes it's plaster over masonry here, and then there's
Okay,
like,
it's kind of unfinished, kind of.
no, it's not unfinished. It's
Okay.
that the internal construction of the walls is, and then it's an old building, so it's slanted, so your studs are like fucking, probably 2 inches off here versus here on the wall, depending on where you are
Okay.
and stuff. But I mean, that's not really important. What
Gotcha,
I'm saying
yeah.
is that there's a closet rod I put up. It's a 72-inch run,
Yeah.
so you need some kind of support in the middle.
This isn't
And-
important either. You were talking about your girlfriend. You learned stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. This is a creative project.
Oh,
So
it was
have to
okay, I thought you were still describing the
I have to
brownstone
put a-
stuff.
I have to
Okay.
put a bracket up to support this closet rod. And I mean, I could just put some metal thing up there, but then now I'm like into the weeds, and so I'm gonna I do woodworking sometimes, so I have a bracket I'm gonna build, and it's got like it's slotted. There's like a sliding dovetail so that there's a bigger bracket that goes on the wall, and then I can route the edges so that it matches the chair rail. That's like an original detail in the stuff, and that's creative. It's creative to work on stuff like that. So I do still have things like that, but even with I mean, like sometimes it was. I don't think there's often small things like that are not for like public consumption, but things like that excite me. The problem is I am also, I have a life and responsibilities and stuff. So it's like, I guess it's like the next year, hopefully somehow that energy, I get to indulge in it, and it dovetails with things that benefit me in my career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck. I had one more question on that. You
Hopefully this wasn't incredibly boring. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think it's boring at all.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
fine. It's interesting to see, especially being the same age.
Yeah.
Because there's like so many different paths to success.
Well,
and there are a lot of different like ways that people incorporate feedback from others.
How
and, like,
long have you
they-
been doing this? Because this has been like a pretty rapid rise for you, right? Over the last like 10 years, maybe?
First of all, 10 years is not rapid, motherfucker. Number one. Number two,
Yeah.
I've been streaming, I think for about 15 years now. I
Oh,
started in
okay.
like late 2010.
Okay. But when did it really start to pop?
It depends on, that's a hard question to answer. So like,
Yeah.
for instance, I would say 2011, 2012, I was the largest streamer in the world.
Yeah.
But that's because it wasn't a huge thing yet. So
Yeah.
I was the biggest StarCraft 2 player, and that was the big game.
Yeah.
So like with 4,000 concurrent viewers, I'm the biggest streamer in the world. But
Do you-
now they're like, people have 50,000 concurrent viewers or 100,000 or more. So it's just,
Do you feel like you genuinely get time to saturate in the moments as they pass you in your life as they are, or is it just moving like very quickly and you're like just
I think that I'm like, I feel like I live in a really lucky moment
yeah.
to where I genuinely do like doing all of this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Like talking to Marion is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
She's a crazy figure, and
Yeah.
in the best way I mean that. And then she's running for a chair that I think is politically important. But
Mhm.
because like my interests are so broad, and I've talked to so many different people, I get to chat with people like you too. That's
Mhm.
like, considering 15, 16 years ago, I was just doing like menial work.
Right,
This is
right,
like
right.
a dream, I think. So
Yeah.
and I do try to prioritize for things
But
that I enjoy.
did you have aspirations back then?
I would say like in high school I did, but then once I hit
Yeah.
college, I was like, my life's kind of fucked. So as long as I can survive, like as
Yeah,
long
yeah.
there's a thing I think that when you're working where it's like, as long as I can work enough to pay all my bills before I die, I'm like good.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
get
yeah.
behind and get fucked. Then
Right,
I'm okay.
right, right.
Yeah, have enough
Yeah.
money to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say this is like significantly more fun than all of that. And I still
Yeah.
get to like choose. Like if I don't want to do something, I just like choose to do something different. I guess. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's always weird when people talk about like being grateful or appreciating things. Like that's something you can just like will. You know what I mean? It's either you feel it or you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it definitely
Yeah.
comes. I mean, like I don't fault anybody for not feeling it. It just depends. It comes from your background. Like a lot of people now who do content get into it when they're like in high school, and so
Yeah.
how could you ever even feel anything? Because it's just like the path of your life. You
Yeah.
know? It'd be like saying, do you feel grateful that you can buy clothes and be in a heated building? And it's like, I
Yeah.
guess, but I mean, I've had that my whole life. I don't really know. Can you feel grateful for that?
Yeah, well, I guess it's more like especially if for me, and then maybe it's different, but like streaming, well, I guess if you would say you've been doing it 15 years, I guess it has existed long. It's like there's no way to, like when we were growing up, to aspire to be a streamer that does debates, because that wasn't a thing that
Yeah.
existed at all.
Mhm.
And likewise, it's like I found success with podcast. I mean, I had listened to one podcast. It just sort of happened around me. And so it's like I'm grateful for the money, certainly, but like it's like I don't like it. Just feels like things are changing so rapidly, and that's the other thing that's weird about being back in the clubs and the green room and stuff. Which I feel like I'm talking in circles.
No,
here,
you're
so-
not. Okay, here, one final
um,
question. Actually, I'm curious.
Yeah,
Before they kick us out, so for you, you said that like your goal is to be happy. What is
Yeah.
like a day that's above the baseline happiness? Like, what's a day where you're like, this was a really good day? What does that feel like
Well,
to you?
yeah, I mean, it's really simple, and that's the thing. It's gonna sound like stupid, but like even as dumb as like just waking up in the morning, and like if I can be up and I can be outside when the sun comes up, it's great. That's it. You know, that's
Okay.
really all it is. Or working creatively and like getting. I don't have a way to put it into words, but it's like a universe. It's like people call it being in the zone or whatever, but just that feeling is like is really a great feeling when you just get lost working on something, especially with things that are hobbies. If you're like fucking when you're new to something, like if imagine if you like got into knitting and you
Mhm.
have no idea how shitty you are at knitting. That like first like I mean that's got to feel fucking amazing.
Oh, we spoke a little bit about this with the fucking camera shit because I think you've gone through similar building studio shit.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's very fun. That's been honestly over the last like 2.5 years. It's like even though there may not be like a spot for me really in the show going forward, it's like finding a new medium to work in, which is an expensive medium to like kind of play around with.
Yeah.
To have access to that has been invaluable. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Hey, listen, I know it's kind of an odd pairing conversation, whatever. But I mean, I super appreciate you coming out.
It's odd. I'm sorry.
No,
What does
you're
that
the one.
mean?
I'm echoing. I'm trying to be fucking reflective because you keep
okay.
saying
All
that.
right,
So I'm
yeah.
reflecting your
Yeah,
feelings
yeah.
back to you to make you feel comfortable.
I
Can you
don't-
feel
yeah.
comfortable?
Well,
Just say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay,
I feel
stop.
comfortable.
So thank you
Yeah.
for coming here,
Okay.
even though it was not the most like.
You
It seems
can't
like out of everybody's
qualify
will.
it that way.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I enjoy the conversation.
I enjoyed
hope-
the conversation.
Yeah,
too.
I hope
We had
you
a
do
great-
more
we had a
cool
great-
stuff.
We had a great dinner the
Yeah.
other night with the whole crew.
Yeah,
That
it was
a lot
super
of
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the next thing people should find you on or look for you
I
at
don't
or
know.
plug your
I
stuff
don't
or
know.
whatever?
We'll see. Watch the Adam Friedland show if you want to watch.
Plug something that has Nick Mullen in
the
it
Year of the Dragon special. That's the last probably big thing I did. Kind of
so far.
Yeah. So far. Other than that, you can catch me on the PlayStation Network.
Awesome. We'll keep an eye out for you. Okay. Thanks a lot, man. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
No, thank you, man. I had
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Did you do the handshake? Sorry.
Well, good early evening, Marianne Williamson.
Good early evening.
Good early evening.
Wonderful
Thank you.
to me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today to
Thank
talk
you
about
for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. Before we get into things, I'm just curious. We were speaking a little bit beforehand, and you mentioned kind of going back and forth between like New York and DC. What's your favorite thing about New York City? I have a friend that's trying to convince me to move here. So,
The energy.
yeah.
Always going, always moving. You always feel there's possibility. You always feel anything could happen. People are primed and ready for something new and exciting.
Speaking of primed and ready for something new and exciting, we have a this big DNC chair race, which I think for the first time in my entire lifetime, people seem to be really interested in because it's like kind of more behind the scenes thing. You've obviously cast your lot into the ring to run for chair. What do you think is the most important thing the Democratic Party needs to do kind of moving forward?
Transform completely and fundamentally. If we want a new president in 2028, we're going to have to be a new party. We need to throw out the old playbook completely. You know, the reason people aren't usually so interested in the DNC chair race is because if you have a Democratic president or even a Democratic House or Senate, then the DNC gets to be just sort of business in the background. And when you don't have any of those things, the DNC has to take up some space as a kind of spokesperson, I believe. And so when you say, what do we need to do? It's not just what the party needs to do, it's what the party needs to be. I think the party has swayed from its moral core, from its primary mission, from its traditional values of unequivocal advocacy for the working people of the United States. Once it started taking corporate money in the 1970s, we started to be the party that tries to have it both ways. We want to be there to help people, but we'll never go past the point beyond which it would be offending the corporate donors, so that we come across too often as hypocrites, incrementalists. We say one thing and then end up saying, well, we would have, if only we had had more votes, if only we had had a second term, if only, and we come across weak and hypocritical when we do that. There is nothing about what I just described that carries the energy to even begin to take on Donald Trump. Donald Trump has ushered in an age of political theater, as is obvious. We won't be going back. Whereas the Democratic Party is this old-fashioned playbook. You know, we talk about how, you know, Trump supporters are under the thrall of his personality. I think the Democrats need to break out of a thrall as well. And it's the thrall of this sort of pseudo-sophisticated, almost pseudo-intellectual playbook that really doesn't meet this moment. It's not the zeitgeist. It's not where people are living. And obviously, it's a failure. I think we need to take in as Democrats just how deeply we have failed. And I think that's very relevant to this race. We've lost everything, guys. We've lost House, Senate, White House, and state after state after state. Not only that have become red, it's worse than that. It's how many of them have become supermajorities. In any field of endeavor, you walk into that and go, whoever brought us to this point, they're out. In any endeavor. And yet it's this like, well, we just need to do what we've been doing, but better. No, you need to do something very different because you have to return to some core of your own dedication, ethics, passion, guts, audacity, bravery, telling it like it is, get off your high horse. And the last thing we need to do, and this is what I think is so relevant to this race, everybody's so thinking if only we have a better political car mechanic, that'll fix it. We do need better political car mechanics because clearly we didn't have it coming up to this point. That we all get, but that will not be enough. We have to have a deeper conversation about what road we're on. And that's why it's going to have to be more than all this technical stuff, all the stuff that I agree with. Once again, of course, we have to have a 365-day campaign. Of course, it has to be not just focused on the presidential elections. Of course, it has to be all the way down, granular. Of course, it has to be a situation where it's no longer just this group of people hanging out in Washington with their multi-million-dollar consultancy contracts who know nothing about how to talk to the people in Nebraska, how to talk to the people anywhere outside Washington. All that has to change. But if we don't come up with some adrenaline, some excitement, some theater of our own in the best sense, then nothing's going to really change. And it makes me sad to see anyone still under the thrall that, well, we can do it. We can do it. We just need to do, more counties. Yeah, you think? I don't think.
I do a lot of online like debating and arguing over politics and fighting with sometimes people on the left, a lot of the times now people on the right. And one of the frustrations that I express a lot, other people express a lot, is it seems like the right can operate sometimes in a way beyond, I'll say beyond accountability. And one of the things that I agree with you and everybody in the Democratic Party right now who's being vocal about the change we need is that we have to do something different going forward. How do we match that conservative energy, or how do we match what they're doing without also losing something important in ourselves?
First of all, I think doing it the same way, we have lost something important within ourselves. So when you talk about doing things the same way, you're just continuing to leak your juice. So I think doing something different is reclaiming ourselves. And how you do it, you bring somebody in there that knows what he's doing, because she's been doing a similar thing for 40 years in terms of knowing how to talk to a crowd. He knows how to dig into an aspect of the American character, one of the lowest aspects of the American character. Why not try somebody who knows how to, because of her skill set, namely mine, that has to do with tapping into inspiration, that has to do with tapping into excitement and the possibility of transformation. Every time somebody talks about, we're going to fight them, we're going to fight them, we're going to fight them, we've lost the fight, okay? That's not how we're going to win, because they're shameless. It's not a fair fight. We're going to win by exciting people, by inspiring people to what is essentially not just the traditional core of the Democratic Party, but the basic core of the American ideal, which is that this should be a society in which everyone has a chance to thrive, and that we have to get back. It's not when you say, how do we not lose? What is it we're afraid of losing here? We need to be more honest with ourselves, brutally self-aware than that. We need to get back to the core that we were given by God inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How can you pursue happiness when you have to work 3 jobs? At least one of them you hate. People at jobs that they don't even like, but it's the only way they can get health care. We're the only advanced nation in this world that does not have universal health care. Until the 60s and 70s, we had tuition-free college and tech school in Florida, California, Texas. During the 1970s, the average couple could afford a house. Today, how unattainable that seems to people. Well, no, we have to reclaim some things. And I would argue that only by throwing out this old playbook, only by disenthralling ourselves of this pseudo-sophisticated, pseudo-intellectual, technocratic, rationalistic thing that speaks to no one, that it's just kind of not where people live in our hearts.
So something that I've had a lot of trouble dealing with, and I'm curious how you would figure this out, is when I hear people complaining about things. So we'll take like college and healthcare are 2 big ones, right? Everybody in my generation and the generation after me and the generation before me still complains about student loan debt, right? Lingering debt, stuff you still have to pay back, the unaffordability or unattainability of college sometimes, and then stuff related to healthcare. So these are 2 things that I think most Americans care a lot about. In 2017, the first thing the Republicans tried to do when they came in was repeal and replace the ACA.
Yeah.
Or look at Donald Trump now, and he's saying we want to abolish the entire Department of Education, and we're going to do everything we can to block people who are trying to do student loan forgiveness. If these are the things that the American public wants, which I do agree with, it's a challenging question. If these are the things that they want, these are the things they want, why is Trump able to message on this so effectively when all of his actions are exactly to the contrary? That he's going to extend the tax cuts for the billionaires, do nothing for healthcare and education, yeah?
My experience leads me to believe because economics overrides all of that. I have met so many people. I'll give you an example, a man I met the other day. But this is something I've heard in so many places. Very nice man. He was the doorman at a hotel in Detroit where we did the forum, the Midwest Forum. And we were talking, and he said, you know, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Washington. He said, are you going for the inauguration? I said, well, I'm not a Republican, but I live there. And I said, did you vote for him? And he said, well, I didn't vote because I haven't changed my registration yet from Chicago, where I used to live. And he had said something else that made me ask him, I said, but would you have voted for him? And he said, yes, I would have voted for him. And I said to him something that I've said before to people who are these like really nice, good people. I said, doesn't it bother you what a bad guy he is? Doesn't it like bother you what a liar he is? Now, time after time after time, I don't get, no, he's not. People aren't stupid, is what he said. Let me answer it this way. When I lived in Chicago, I was a doorman and I had a limo company. I made over $100,000 a year, and my wife did not have to work, and we raised 3 great kids. Now I am in Michigan. My wife works. We're both working, and we can't come close. And then he went into this detailed description of what steaks used to cost, down to the cent, and what the change was. We're talking about people for whom healthcare, we're just talking about food. And I said to him, do you think Trump is going to fix that? And he said, and once again, this is over and over and over again, I've had this basic scenario, and he looked at me, he said, I said, you're hoping that he will. He went, I said, so you're saying that even though you don't see how he is, you have some hope that he will, whereas staying the course, you have no hope. And he said, yes. And I think people will go with false hope before they'll go for no hope. And I think it's economics, economics, economics. And I think, you know, I remember at the beginning of the campaign, and I was just saying this as loud as I could, when the Democratic line was the economy is doing well. For who? Take a drive just a few miles out of your neighborhood, you geniuses who come up with such a line. Because people are selling their blood plasma. Their blood plasma in order to pay their rent. One woman was saying to me one day, because we have 1.3 million people who are rationing their insulin. And one woman was saying to me, it was out west somewhere, she said, well, I had to decide my insulin or the rent. But I figured ultimately that even if to buy the insulin meant I was going to have to tell the girls that we were going to have to move out of the apartment and live in the car for a while. But I figured at least they'd have a mother. Excuse me. These are millions of people going through these scenarios every single day in this country. So Bernie and Trump in 2016 at least had the smarts to acknowledge that. And Bernie actually meant it. Trump is shrewd. Trump is very shrewd and psychologically 1,000 times more astute than we have been.
What do you think, as the DNC chair, your biggest prime directives would be in terms of kind of steering from initially from the front and then hopefully behind the scenes in 2026 as we sweep through and win the House and the Senate? Ideally, but what do you think is like the most important thing that you can do there to steer the Democratic Party in a good direction?
Well, first of all, we need a far better ground game, but we all know what that ground game needs to be. I think we have in Ken Martin somebody who is not only able to do that, but deeply ethical. The ethical corruption of the party is a serious problem. So I believe that he's the answer to that. So that is, there really needs to be almost a co-chairman type situation here, which is what Clinton did in 1995 with Don Fowler and Chris Dodd. There was a national chairman and a general chairman. One to be the main messenger of what this party stands for, the other to be in charge of the ground game. But that ground game will not be enough. Not enough to fix your car. Somebody's got to talk about where are we driving. So for that, we need to create an entire process that has to do with visualizing for people and enrolling people into the vision of an America in which we are as audacious as Donald Trump is. I think people are very attracted to that audacity, and sometimes for good reason, actually. He says what he wants, and that's what we're going to make happen. Democrats have to become like that. 5 years from now, every American will have health care. 5 years from now, every American will have a roof. 5 years from now, every American can live and support a family on one job. 5 years from now, serious climate change mitigation. 5 years from now, people can breathe freely and feel that this is a space where they can spread their wings and soar. That's the American dream. We need to claim it. So number one, my job, if elected, to paint that vision for people and enroll them in that vision and make politics kind of hot and sexy again. I remember around the country, I've said so many times, I've said, this is what I want. I want for women or men, whomever, to feel, you would say to your partner, I'm going to a city council meeting on Thursday. You want to go with me? That this is the cool thing to do. This is what the right wing has done. They have created a cohesive vision, a story that people can feel my story relates to that story. People are not just looking to what MAGA is offering, thinking, I like the policy. Because like you said, if they take a rational look at it, what are you talking about? Although, once again, psychology is not woo-woo. The part of the brain that rationally analyzes an issue is not the same part of the brain that decides who to vote for. We always have them on the issues. Democratic politicians have been saying to me for years, we had them on the issues. The issues are not always the issue. The issue is, and it takes, I'm sorry, this is just as serious a skill set as the ground game. The air game is as important. The Air Force is as important as the Army, right? Mm-hmm. So the air game has to do with creating some of our own media. Media, once again, one of the things that's going to happen when you get the power and the money out of this consultancy class in Washington and just a few consultancy firms who have no clue how to talk to people in Kansas or how to talk to people in Florida or how to talk to people in Oregon or whatever, is you start working much more deeply with these state parties. Now, other candidates are certainly talking about how we have to have much more power in the hands of the state parties. But we need to not only give them more money, what I would do as chairman is deeply listen. There is so much talent in the membership of the DNC. Like when you're talking to people, God, these people, I can't tell you how many DNC members and chairmen and people out there in America have said, you know how often I've received a phone call from the DNC leadership? 0. I would listen. And then that's, I'm a writer. I'm a storyteller. I'm somebody who works counseling with individuals and organizations in transformation. We need to transform. It begins with listening to people and then understanding the sort of organic calling of what is the messaging. And people hear you on the level that you speak from. And then we have to say, okay, he has a Project 2025, we have a Project 2028. And that has to do with healthcare. And you say it every hour of every day. This is what we are going to do to improve your lives. And we all know what's happened here. The Democratic Party has shown up right before an election, right? And then they go into their wood-paneled rooms and they come back before the next election to ask for more money and votes. Those days have got to be over. No matter who is going to be chair, I think those days will be over. It's such an obvious, obsolete paradigm. But we have to do more than that. We have to talk to people on the level of deep soulfulness and audacity and values and realness. And if we speak from that place within ourselves, people will hear us from that place. And as chair, I think my ability to do that would be central to that effort.
One of the things that I've appreciated about the Democratic Party, establishment, politics, whatever you want to call it, the left, is, especially as I've gotten older, my background is in video games. Growing up when I was like 13, 14, 15, it's basically 99% white guys that are online playing games. It's basically everything. And as the industry has evolved and if more people have gotten online, the places have grown a lot more diverse. And not diverse in just that, like, oh, we're like hitting a quota, but there's generally like so many more cool people to play with. We've gotten the opportunity to play with, or do content with, or do engagement with in other ways. I had an interesting question posed to me by an audience member, and I kind of wonder this sometimes. Do you ever think that it's difficult to manage because the tent has become so big that when I look at the Republican messaging, they can just, Donald Trump will do the shithole countries, and we need to close all the borders, and we need to do all of this. And then when we do our messaging from the left, whenever we message on things, like we have an issue with men in college right now, but we also really want women to succeed, and we have an issue with young white men feeling alienated, but we also want to message to like other groups of people. Like, is there ever like too many, balls in the air sometimes? Or how do the Democrats juggle that? Because it feels like the tent is so big, it's hard to keep everybody together sometimes. Yeah.
This is the self-delusion of the Democratic Party today,
Okay.
that anybody thinks that our tent is really big. Our tent is shrinking. And the way the DNC and others within the establishment of the Democratic Party have acted, it's almost as though they were intentionally trying to shrink it. You don't build a movement by saying, we'll build an alliance with them over there, and we'll build an alliance with them over there, and we'll build an alliance with them over there. The I Ching says even thieves have alliances. So we kid ourselves that we're the people who have so many ideas. Have you been to a Republican dinner party recently? There are all kinds of people there, and they're yelling and they're screaming and they're having a good time. They just know they want to win. And they have their story and they're sticking to it. But it's almost more open. I mean, now with all the Bobby Kennedy crowd and the all these, crunchy, holistic moms are sitting next to the guy eating a McDonald's, and she walks in and he says, "Hi, how you doing?" He's like happy to have her there. So the Democrats like to think of ourselves as the welcoming guys. No, we're not necessarily. And I've seen that certainly with, oh, she's too woo-woo. What? You're not really a Democrat. What? Who gets to say? Or you're not qualified. Someone like Vivek Ramaswamy, they treat him like, you got an idea? Come on in. Whereas here we're holding it. So this is an aspect that has to be completely dismantled in our own cult-like behavior. We say they're enthralled. Lincoln said we have to disenthrall ourselves. It's a very superficial level of, okay, we've got blacks over here, and we've got Arabs over here, and we've got the women over here, and then really, because what are you delivering for any of them? And we'll virtue signal so the pro-Palestinian people like us, or we'll virtue signal so the Jews will like us, and we'll virtue signal so the blacks like us. Meanwhile, nobody's stupid. What have you done for me is what people are, the cry of the soul from all these groups. So what should be our unifying force? Values. Values that every person in this country should have a chance to thrive. That no one owns this country. No one has a monopoly on truth. Everybody should be able to feel that they can have their say. We shouldn't all have to agree with each other about everything. See, that's what the Republicans have on us. They don't feel like you have to agree with me. We know we're going to show up on election day. But our unifying thread is what we have lost our own alignment with, which is that unequivocal advocacy for everyone. I think we talk about how, the right has separated us. Look at all the ways we've separated ourselves by this group - American, this group - American, this group - American. I think we need to talk about the American in us. Some of us are white, some of us are black, some of us are brown, some of us are Jewish, some of us are Hindu, some of us are Muslim. It's e pluribus unum here, guys. Out of many, one. And so if we reclaim, and I think that a part of what politics should be is educative. We need to go back. I'm romantic about American history and American democracy. We have to stand on the Declaration of Independence. It's not just that we stand up, let's say, for LGBTQ or trans, let's say. It's not just that we stand up for trans youth, it's why we stand up for trans youth. Because all men are created equal. Because we are one nation predicated, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the idea that all men are created equal. It's our values that we're standing on. And that's why we stand on health care, and that's why we stand on economic justice, and that's why we stand on safety in the workplace, and that's why we stand on unions. It can't just be from up here. It's got to be from here. It's got to be from here. And when we get back to that, there's a famous story. When FDR died, his train was bringing the body back from Warm Springs, Georgia, right? And there's a famous photograph of this young black man that I think was I think he was in the army, maybe. I'm not sure. It's a famous photograph. You've probably seen it. And he's watching the train, and he has these tears streaking down his cheeks. And someone said to him, "Oh, did you know the president?" And he responded, "No, but he knew me." And I think a lot of that had to do with his experience of polio. Because, Roosevelt was tall, dark, handsome, and a Roosevelt. He had everything. And that polio took him down all the way to the floor. He goes to Warm Springs, Georgia, and people that he probably would have never noticed, that he would never even had any contact with. He's the fancy New Yorker. Just saw him as another sufferer. They weren't really sure what it meant that he was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and they helped him. And he went through such a profound personal transformation. And if he had not, I don't think he would have been the man that we needed him to be, the president we needed him to be, to understand the suffering of people during the Great Depression and then to create the New Deal. That kind of transformation, where it's not just about this anymore, it's about this, it's about this. When we reclaim that, you don't have to go get people. They'll be rushing to ask, where do I register?
Who do you think was the last great communicator in the Democratic Party? And then who are a couple today that you think are really good communicators?
Well, I was excited about Obama in 2008. In his campaign in 2008, it was quite extraordinary. We now know how much of that was because of speeches that were written by John Favreau, right? Because when he got into office, you could tell almost immediately that the man we had voted for, the man we thought we were voting for, and that I think we gave him the mandate to be, was not who he was or how he communicated after he won. To a great extent, anyway. So to me, the last high point of Democratic communication was the campaign in 2008.
Gotcha. Do you see anybody today in the Democratic Party that you feel like this person is a really great communicator? Besides yourself, of course. And I know you're fond of Bernie. Do you think anybody else, like some people say Gavin Newsom, like has that energy?
Gavin Newsom's going to have a hard time now going forward.
Because of the wildfires? Okay.
I like Pritzker.
Okay.
I like Pritzker. Because I think he, because of his own, he has obviously some personal addiction issues, and you can feel I know he's a very, very wealthy man, he's a billionaire, but you can also feel a soulfulness that I think probably is connected in large part to some human suffering he's probably been through despite that, yeah.
One of the things you spoke about initially was the importance of like economic issues and kitchen table issues, people say this. But then you also speak a lot about kind of this narrative, the more emotional side that we have to fight on. How do you separate out, as we decide as Democrats what we respond to in the media, how do you figure out what the important fights are to have when it feels like so much of the conservative messaging sometimes is hitting us on like social issues and we might just want to talk about economic issues? How do you parse what to respond to and what not to?
We shouldn't parse it. Trump doesn't. You don't. You stand on your values and you speak to the moment. You speak to the moment. And a large part of that, in terms of what you're saying, has to do with what he does and what the House does and what the Senate does and what these state legislators do over the next 2 and 4 years. That's my problem, actually, with this race. Everybody's talking like we're in a vacuum. No, 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 we're not in a vacuum. We have a political phenomenon on our hands here, a unique, a peculiar, and a dangerous political phenomenon. And he has created an adrenaline rush that just moves through the electorate. We have to have that. So every day, I don't know, what do you talk about today? Well, how do we decide what to talk about? I don't know. One day it should probably be Greenland. Another day it should probably be Panama. Another day it should probably be Canada. Another day it should probably be what Musk and Ramaswamy are doing. Another day it might be about that, and it should be every day about those tax cuts and how, okay, this is great, guys. This is really rich. So Ramaswamy and Musk are going to come in and they're going to be efficient, right? See, I think good is more important than efficient. You don't feed a hungry child because it's efficient. You feed a hungry child because it's good. You don't take care of your elderly because it's efficient. You take care of your elderly because it's good. We can't be great if we're not good. But they're saying, oh, but it's important because they're going to cut the fat out and maybe $2 trillion from the budget. Okay, great. Now Musk is saying, well, maybe one. Meanwhile, those tax cuts, that 2017 tax cut that he wants to extend, will add $4 trillion to the next 10 years. So it's all smoke and mirrors. So what do we talk about? I don't know what's happening. Like, there's not enough happening on any given day. That's the problem with the Democratic Party. They're over in a room somewhere deciding what to talk about. Meanwhile, people are hungry. People don't have health care. What you should talk about is what people are going through in this country and what the Democrats are going to do for you every single day. It could be a story about a single mother who works at Walmart and what Walmart is doing. It could be that. On another given day, it could be about the fact that there are millions of American children who go to school in places where they don't even have the adequate resources to teach a child to read. And if that child cannot learn to read by the age of 10, chances for high school graduation are drastically decreased. Chances for incarceration are drastically increased. Another day, maybe we should talk about the fact that 1 in 4 Americans have medical debt. Over half of our bankruptcies are medical bankruptcies. The fact that 1.3 million people ration their insulin. This isn't, to me, something you strategize. This is something you just open your heart, open your gut, and speak. That's what people can't stand about Democrats. And that's what they actually like about Trump. So much so that even when it's a lie, it's like, yeah, well.
One of the big challenges that I saw, and I actually fell victim to this even, from 2017 to 2021 was on the conservative side. My impression is the conservatives are shameless. They will talk about whatever they want to. Yeah. It's whatever they feel benefits them. That's what they're going to talk about. All of the kind of, they call themselves centrists, but all of these people who are kind of in the middle all also seem to carry a lot of water for conservatives. And then it felt like on the left, whenever you were trying to fight against Donald Trump or some of the horrible stuff that his administration was trying to do, you would get hit with this Trump derangement syndrome accusation, where if you focus too much on the fact that they said they were going to cut spending, well, here's the deficit, or Trump horribly mismanaged COVID, like where was the communication or the coordination between the states? How it feels like, and now that you have Elon Musk, who's Trump's personal best friend, who now has a guest room in Mar-a-Lago and maybe in the White House coming up, owns a whole social media platform. Where do Democrats find their footing to start fighting back, to start saying, like, these are the things I'm going to point out? Yeah.
That's an old-fashioned conversation.
Okay.
Got to be guerrilla. Got to be guerrilla. You can't sit in a room and try to decide how to do that. Got to be guerrilla. Got to be on the move. Interestingly enough, and by the way, during this last campaign, I remember I was on, I think it was Piers Morgan, and I was asked, what would be your advice to Kamala Harris? I said, stop talking about Donald Trump. People know who he is now. People know who he is now. There's nothing you can say. But what I learned, like I said before, was how many people, they weren't denying his character. They were just feeling, well, maybe it could help me. Even though, like you said, it's not going to. They'll be seeing that. They'll be seeing that soon enough. The issue is, will we be ready? Now, when you say, how do you parse that? Like I said, you got to be guerrilla. One of the things, it seems to me, about Republicans, more of them come from the private sector. In the private sector, that if your business is going down on Tuesday, you better fix it by Thursday. Because if you don't fix it by Thursday, this whole thing could go under by Sunday. Okay? They know how to pivot. Democrats are acting because too many of them, their contracts, their power is going to be the same no matter who's in office. I saw that during this campaign. I thought, you'd really rather see Trump win than give me a shot, wouldn't you? Because it's their perch, right? So the way Democrats who often act is the business is going down on Monday. We're going to continue doing what we do on Wednesday. And even if it goes under on Saturday, they're still in this race talking about basically doing the same, but doing it better on Monday. You gotta be girly. Democrats, you know how the story of the Revolutionary War, right? And the British came over in their red coats, and they're lined up, right, with their muskets, fire, the old-fashioned, right, type of warfare. Whereas the colonists had been around the Native American Indians. They knew about hiding behind trees. This is also one of the reasons we lost in Vietnam. We just have to become guerrilla political warriors. It's like, you just kind of gotta go. I don't know what's happening this hour. You can't sit and parse anything. It's a 360-degree in the round assault on democracy. And we won't be able to defeat that through playing whack-a-mole. We've got to have a central core so that every time we say anything, people will know why, because that's against our values, and we need to say so. Because if all men are created equal, you can't treat that group that way. And also, in the world today, to make the point that all men are created equal doesn't just mean Americans either.
What do you think Donald Trump represents, and what do you think he represents to his followers? Do you think that's the same thing or two different things?
Okay, so let's go back. Franklin Roosevelt said that we would not have to worry about a fascist takeover in this country as long as democracy delivered on its promises. Somewhere around the 70s, Democrats stopped making delivering on democracy's promises the bottom line. It was the bottom line as long as it didn't offend the donor base. Okay? Even the most rudimentary understanding of history, and large groups of desperate people, and 70% of Americans living with chronic economic despair is a large group of desperate people. Anywhere in the world, any time in history, large groups of desperate people form a petri dish out of which all manner of both personal and societal dysfunction almost inevitable, including ideological capture by psychotic forces and almost always the political strongman. What geniuses didn't bother to even think about this? If it had not been Donald Trump, it would have been someone else. We created a great big hole. People living just in survival. I mean, like that man telling me in such detail about what steaks cost when he could afford them.
Do you think that
Now,
you mentioned,
you add to
oh,
that.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because you mentioned the what sounds like voters who were either in the center or switched from Democrat to Republican, like people that aren't fans of Trump's character, but are just looking for some sort of
Hope.
maybe. Yeah, a maybe is better than an absolutely no.
Maybe.
Do you think that represents the core or average Trump voter, or were these the group of people that put him over the edge?
There are many things going on here, and once again, I don't have a magnifying glass, but I have what you can see from the outside. I'm not in any way underscoring the fact that there are white nationalists out there, the fact that there are the Proud Boys out there, the fact that there are Christian, white supremacist Christian nationalists. This is really scary stuff. So he has done enough, bird whistles. He knows how to attract anybody. He'll look at anybody. He'll say, "Oh, I need the kids." Okay, I like TikTok. I like TikTok. Any group, he knows how to get you. There's a woman, Barbara. Is it Corcoran? Is that how you pronounce it? She's a big real estate mogul here.
Okay.
Okay. So I heard her on a video, and she said, "I know Donald Trump." She said, "I've known him for many years. Our real estate companies began roughly at the same time." She said, "I've spent hours in meetings with Donald Trump." She said, I know what he does. She said he has an eerie ability. He will go into a room and he has an eerie ability to know where you're vulnerable in order to make that sale. So the woman who was interviewing her said, oh, so you're saying he's a master salesman? She said, no, I'm not saying he's a master salesman. I'm saying he's an eerie phenomenon. And what he had done in those meetings is what he has done to this country. He's completely amoral. So if it's the Proud Boys, I could get them by talking a certain way. You know, there was a Rolling Stone interview, I think, with Jared Kushner that I read shortly after Trump's win in 2016, where Kushner said, he said he was sitting in a McDonald's with his father-in-law. And he looked around and he said to Donald Trump, there are a lot of angry people out there. We could harness all that and make you president. Now, the way I look at it is there are all those loving, decent, good, intelligent people out there. We could harness all that and change the world. One of the things that running for president twice has convinced me, the problem is not with the American people. We're good and decent people. I'm not saying we're better than anyone else, but we're not worse either. The problem is not the consciousness of the American people. The problem is a political system that acts like a lid, acts like a suppressant, when if we just allowed for the genuine, organic unfolding of what should be democracy and the real voices of people, this country would be fine. And that is what the Democratic Party must become again, a real conduit for that.
One of the things I noticed about the Republican side of things is they seem to be wholly coordinated or at least consistent in all of their messaging from the top down. Like if I see a guy online saying something, I know that Trump probably just said it or Vivek said it, or like I know it's all the same. One of the things that you speak about in being the DNC chair is kind of empowering the individual state parties to kind of like take the reins on things. How much, I guess, like coordination do you see the DNC chair is having or the Democratic Party having with the other states versus just kind of like setting them loose and saying good luck? How do you see that role, like those competing forces?
Having run for president, particularly this time, I lived at the effect of the behavioral patterns of the DNC. So I had a natural curiosity about a lot of that. Since running, the political malpractice is so deep. Nobody's even tried. What you're saying is that there's a cohesion, that every school board election, every local election, every city council, every media, every state election, they're there with their messaging. We haven't even tried. We're talking about a few consultancy groups who come up with pamphlets to be handed out 3 weeks before an election. We don't have a cohesion. We don't have a cohesive story. So when you say how much should that be the work of the DNC chair, given how little there is, huge. That's why you have to have someone basically in charge of the ground game. Because ground game is important. And like I already mentioned, we have someone who totally knows how to do that, I believe, very well. Plus, he's an ethical and honorable man, I know from having run. But that, what you're talking about now, is going to need, it necessitates, I believe, someone who knows about communication and knows how to bring together. You know, I was reading an article, it was an interview with some major CEO, some big Fortune 500 company. He said 20 years ago, we were looking for people who understood the digital space. Today, we're looking for storytellers. Isn't that interesting? To weave a story. And that's what needs to happen, because it's exactly what you say. They have a story. Now, we actually, our story, if you could look throughout history, one of the grandest stories is the United States of America. We had 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence. That document posited principles of possibility, human possibility, as deeply spiritual as political, that all men are created equal, that all have the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that governments are instituted to secure those rights. And if it's not happening, the people have the right to alter it or abolish it. with that, possibility was open that had never existed on the planet. 56 signers. But 41 of them were slave owners. That dichotomy has been with us from the inception. It's baked into the cake. We are both and have been, that struggle has been reiterated in every generation. We have been the best that humanity has to offer, and we at times have been the worst humanity has to offer. Now, if you realize that every generation has reiterated the struggle, some more dramatically than others, then you look at the overall arc of history and you go, but we've done well. We had slavery, but then we had the abolitionists. We had the institutionalized suppression of women, but then we had the women's suffragist movement, the passage of the 19th Amendment. We had the Gilded Age, and then we had the establishment of organized labor. We had segregation, and then we had the civil rights movement. It's our turn now. It's no different. There have always been in this country people whose hearts really got, this is important. This is important. This is bigger than my life, this is serving the ages stuff. This is big. And there have been people in every generation, including ours, who for their own ideological and or financial purposes find democracy kind of inconvenient to their purposes and have proven time and time again they will do whatever it takes to make sure that those principles are not actualized. You know, even Thomas Jefferson said, it is the general tendency of the rich to prey upon the poor. So now today it's not a specific institution like slavery. It's an economic paradigm. It's the very idea that short-term profits for this matrix of corporate powers, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, big food, big ag, big chemical companies, gun manufacturers, banks, financial institutions, tech in some cases, big oil, and defense contractors. Their profits supersede democracy at this point. And that's going to only get worse with Trump and Musk. And it's our turn to push back. Let's not be the first generation in American history to ultimately wimp out on doing what it takes to put this country back on track. What bigger story can you get than the story I just said? And that, to me, it's like when Franklin Roosevelt talked about the economic royalists. That would be the corporatists of today. They came after him. They called him socialist and so forth. What he said was, I welcome their hatred. That's who we have to become again. And then we'll win because people will know that we mean it. And until we do mean it.
When we consider kind of the more boring, I guess, logistics questions, one of the things I look at is on the Republican side. So you do have this cabinet of, I don't know if we're at 7 or 8 like billionaire people now. You've got Americans simultaneously frustrated with media control, and then you have Elon Musk, or frustrated with pharmaceuticals, and you've got Vivek Ramaswamy, disappointed in housing or education. You've got Donald Trump. Do you think that, or not do you think it's a mistake, how does the Democratic Party fund itself if they were to take the steps to start aggressively cutting off every single source of corporate money, even if that money might come with no strings attached or there's an alignment in vision? Like, do you think that might be taking like an even further step back where you're putting yourself in an unwinnable position? Or how do you replace that money? Or is that not important? Or what do you think?
The gold in today's currency is human relationships. Hillary Clinton had a whole lot more money than Donald Trump did. Look at all the money that Kamala Harris had. And look at the absurd expenditures. And Bernie Sanders already proved how much money you can make in small donations when people care. We are trading with, it's whoredom. You want that money so badly that you're willing to sacrifice your values, you're willing to sacrifice your own ethics. You do that, and your own democracy, by once again, suppressing primaries, kicking people off ballots. What did that money do for you? It just made people, with every dollar you spend, it made people, the smell. So I believe that when we do the right thing, the money will come. The money will be there. Money will be there in small donations.
what do you think sets you apart from everybody else running for chair that you would want the other DNC voters to keep in mind when they go to cast their ballot?
Well, there's some good people,
There are.
and there are some good people running. I believe, however, that I represent a fundamental change, not incremental change. As I said before, the problem is that not that we don't have political car mechanics. The problem is we're on the wrong road. That's another line from Roosevelt that I love. He was talking about the presidency. He said, the main job of the presidency, he said, is not administrative, but moral leadership. We need to return to the prophetic voice of justice. Justice, justice, thou shalt pursue. That was the prophetic voice of the Democratic Party. When you don't stand in the light, the darkness is going to overwhelm you. And so I think there's a lot of talent, and some of which, were I to be chair, I would definitely tap into, as there's tremendous talent throughout the membership. But I believe that we need to lead at this point. First of all, that's very common in business, that when you really need to transform, I mean, you can ask any consultant in transforming businesses. The consultant comes in and says, is this fixable or is this not fixable? Any consultant would come in and say, this isn't fixable. This is on such a level of failure. The only option now is transformation. That is your fix. It's beyond fix. It's transforming. And, I'm not the greatest visionary in the United States, but I think I'm the only one running for DNC chair. If you want excitement, if you want adrenaline, if you want authenticity, if you want audacity, if you want somebody who can really talk to people where they live, and that person knows that I understand because I've been on those streets up close and personal with people for years, that would be me. Uh-huh. When my career began, I was very involved with the AIDS crisis. And then because of that, I was very up close and personal with people in some of their darkest moments. The joke used to be, nobody calls Marianne because things are going well. I was always the person you called after sometimes the worst news. But in the 1980s and most of the 1990s, my experience of people whose lives were really in trouble, for the most part, was people for whom the crisis was the exception. It wasn't the rule. What I began to realize in the late 90s, around the year 2000, more and more people who I would meet for whom the crisis was the rule and not the exception. It wasn't just that they had cancer, it's that they didn't have health care. It wasn't just that they couldn't find a job, it's they couldn't live on just one. And that's when I began to realize no amount of private charity can compensate for this, as important as that space is and where I've been very active. I think after as many years as I've had being with people in their most agonizing hours, I think it reads when I'm with people in situations where I would like them to know the Democratic Party is fighting for you. And they're not going to believe it from the messaging as it is now. One young man said to me last night, he said, I went door to door during this last session. He's in Illinois. And he said, and I was, presenting this sheet of what Kamala's policies were. And he said, I would show the sheet to someone, and it wasn't that they said, I don't like any of those things. They said, I don't think she'd do any of that.
It's loosely related. I did a YouTube show where it was called Street Epistemology. You'd be oppositional to a Trump voter, and we had whiteboards, and we had to write down why we think the other guy wouldn't vote for. I think this was 2021, so it was over Biden versus Trump, and he had 3 guesses for mine, and I had 3 guesses for his. And I'm a pretty smart guy, and I talk to a lot of people. I was like, I got this, no problem. And I think I wish I could remember exactly what I'd written, but for why he wouldn't vote for Biden, I was like, probably wouldn't do enough on the border, probably wouldn't do enough on. It was. I'm a Democrat, so it was 3 policy positions, and then he guessed mine, and I don't even remember what he said, but he was right on like the second one. He had it. It's like, okay, yeah. And when I read down mine, I was wrong on all of his. I was like, what's the thing that's keeping you here? And he said, I think Biden is senile.
I'm sorry.
He said, I think Biden is senile. And I was like, oh. And sometimes, yeah, there are moments where it's like, okay, my brain is very off here, I guess, in how we're viewing. Not to say whether he was right or wrong, or not to say anything else, but just sometimes the perspective that we view the elections from are the important issues. You know, like you said, like sometimes people will assume people are voting for Trump because of these policy reasons. And it's like people oftentimes aren't powered by that.
Like I said, the
amount,
part of the brain that rationally analyzes an issue isn't the same part of the brain that decides who to vote for, which is why primaries are important. Because if you have debates, everybody gets to see all the candidates and get a feel for them and get to know them.
If you did win the chair position, or for whoever does win the chair position, do you think that there's going to be a lot of pushback from other parts of the Democrat apparatus in moving the party? Like, do you see the media fighting it, the state parties fighting it? How do you view that going
If
forward?
I may say so, that's why it should be me, because it's going to take one tough broad to know what they're doing and be able to push back. Most of the people that I've heard talk, I feel they underestimate those forces. But because I've run twice, I know them. I know how they act. I know the deep level of, they're just wait. They don't even care they don't care who wins as long as it's not me, because they know, we'll get him. We'll go around him. We'll be fine. He's either one of us, as in one case, or we can get around that. We can put him in a corral and make sure he doesn't really mess with anything.
Final question from my perspective. I have an audience of who are considered, I guess, like the dispossessed of the Democratic Party. So younger white men, basically. What do you think?
We're women and we're dispossessed too. We're
Sure. Okay.
We're homeless too.
Sure. Yeah. Do you think that there's anything in particular that the Democratic Party can do to kind of like win some of these people back? Like in particular,
Okay.
do you think it's just the broad message narrative?
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So first of all, and you'll understand this based on everything I've said, I don't think things like, what could I do to win them back? That's the kind of language that doesn't even reside in my heart. My heart is, where have we failed them? Okay? Because if you stop failing people, they'll be yours again, right? Where have we failed men? I think we're all male, we're all female within our, psyche, etc. But I believe that economic opportunity is so important for a human being to feel agency and to feel the capacity to produce. And I believe that when you fail to provide economic opportunity for people that can make them feel dignified and that they can support their loved ones, I think it does damage to people. You have some trade deal, and then you're going to have boarded up factories, and people can't find jobs there anymore. Men who have told me, my wife won't respect me, my kids won't respect me. I've seen damage done to people's psyche. It's more than financial. And so I believe for women, but for men, for anyone, however we identify sexually today, I think that that's a primary cause of, I will go anywhere, I will do anything, and I will listen to even somebody I know is a total whatever he is, if it can make me feel I can stand up straight again and live a life of purpose.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Do you have any final thoughts or messages, or where can people find you if you're trying to get people to follow you on one platform?
Yeah, if somebody's interested, I am at Marianne 4 DNC, Marianne numeral 4 DNC.com, and would appreciate your support and my social media and stuff.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining me on your YouTube channel.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Welcome back to our New York studio.
This is Live and Learn, episode 30. No, I'm just kidding. Was your goal to make Nick Mullen as depressed as possible?
He
So
came
that
in
when-
depressed. I'm just trying to. Here's the issue. Dr. K changed his content to where he doesn't like rattle people as much anymore on video. I wanted to Dr. K Nick Mullen.
Yeah.
And I was so, if I would have had 30 more minutes, I could have had him crying at the end.
So talk to me through your process in that interview. You're trying to reach him.
I mean, like, honestly, a lot of it is still kind of like feeling each other out.
Yeah.
Because even when we went to dinner, it's hard sometimes to tell.
I laughed harder at that dinner than I have in years.
Sure. It was.
A lot of things were said.
It's okay. But anyway, and even especially in this environment, because
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know what what he wants to do or
Mhm.
what he's here for or like how this fits in his life. So it's more just kind of like feeling each other out.
I
But then
really-
like once I felt him out a little bit more, like we literally are the exact same age and seeing where
Same
people,
birthday?
I think the same day because
Wow.
we argued about that over dinner. 'Cause
Oh,
of the
that's
time
right.
zones.
And he's
Yeah.
like, Asian people are, well, no, I don't want to say that.
okay.
Something about the birth, that he's actually older because he was
Because
born.
he's Asian?
No, he said he was
What?
born in
He was
Hong
born
Kong.
in Asia?
He said he was born in Hong Kong.
Was he really born in Hong Kong?
That was, I think, a joke to get the time backwards a little bit.
Okay.
But I actually liked how you guys got into some real stuff, and I appreciated that because I think a lot of areas that we see Nick, he's always, he's riffing, right? He's doing some riffs. So I thought we saw a lot of the realness that came out of the dinner conversation on set, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was a fun combo. Yeah.
Transition a little bit to wait. First, let's do a little recap of yesterday.
Okay.
So, what did you think about the movie, The Last Republican? If you guys
Oh
don't
my
know,
God.
yeah, if you don't know, we had like a little DGG and NYC event. There
You
was
should know because it was on the subreddit.
it was on the subreddit, but there was almost no notice for this, right?
like 24 hours. If
And
that.
if that, we got it together pretty quickly because we're having to work a lot around the schedules of the people that we're inviting here. And New York City DGG showed up like it was perfect. There must have been more than 100 people
Easily.
at the theater and then at the pub afterwards. But yeah, talk me through. You were a little late to the movie, but you caught
Okay,
most of
because
it.
you emailed me my tickets and you included in that email as part of your default footer, I think, an address that
No, don't. We don't talk about.
it wasn't.
No, it
It
wasn't.
was
the pla-
I went to the wrong place.
Yes,
But
yes.
it was your email was misleading at best,
I
if not
attached-
malicious at worst.
Okay, but what
so
did
I'm like,
you-
oh, here's the ticket. Oh, that must be where I need to go. And then, wow.
But the movie was about a real dude, Adam Kinzinger.
Yeah, okay, so the movie, so Pisco, when he pitched this idea to me, he was like, we should like watch a movie. And then
Joanna's idea.
you can, but I think you originally was like, we should watch a movie, and then you can kind of like give your review at
Joanna's
the end, like
idea.
a meme thing.
Oh yeah, but that was Joanna's
yeah.
idea. I was just
Okay, that
saying-
was maybe Joanna's idea. Even for that, it would be like a meme thing. So then you suggest this movie called The Last Republican.
Joanna suggested that movie.
Okay, sure. Joanna suggested you, and then you suggested to me.
Yeah,
yeah, but
I just don't want to take credit because she had this whole idea about why it would make sense
all of
to
the,
watch.
just
this
assume
movie.
that everything that comes from Pisco,
Yeah.
all the good stuff originates from Joanna.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought it was a fucking meme. Okay, that it was gonna be a meme movie, and we show up, and then we sit down, and I'm watching, and unfortunately, because of your address tomfoolery, 15 minutes late. So I missed the first 15 minutes, but we sit down and we're watching, and I'm like, okay, this is like kind of like cute or funny, and I think by the time I get like 10 or 15 minutes more into it, I'm like, ooh, this is like kind of, damn, this is like some sad, heavy stuff. It's is his first name Adam Kissinger? Yeah, Adam Kissinger.
Kinzinger.
Kissinger.
Kinzinger.
It's
Adam Kinzinger.
Kinzinger. I think his name is so
Kissinger
hard. His name
is,
is so hard to pronounce. It's not Kissinger.
I know, but you kind of.
His name. I didn't say Kissinger.
Oh.
It's either Kissinger or Kissing.
Kinzinger.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And when he was doing the January 6 panel stuff, and they read his name, the guy said it wrong, and then he pronounced his name and then said yes.
Yeah.
Because his name is fucked up much. But anyway, it was a really touching movie. I felt I'm gonna email him. I'm gonna reach out to him and chat with him because
100%.
wow. Because it just has to do with like he's having a baby. It goes through the whole drama of him being a part of that January 6th committee, the select subcommittee, which I can't imagine. Now I'm really curious to see a movie made from Liz Cheney's perspective. Just it's always interesting to see Congress people like their life because we have these views of them as being kind of like these DC robots that kind of go in and do whatever. And like him having calls with like his wife with his like newborn baby and trying to balance out the craziness of McCarthy and the Republican Party.
Well, I
and,
have something to say about that, but,
Yeah.
but there's a part that you missed, which was him getting all the voicemails of people like, we're gonna be outside, we're coming for you, we're gonna get you, and just playing constant.
his
But,
wife,
yeah.
when he's on the phone with her, is joking like, "Oh, the guy from outside noticed." I wish I could remember the name of his baby, but asked a question about like how he's doing, getting older, whatever. And it was the security because they have 24/7 security around their house, and he's like joking on his couch. He's like, "Because a lot of people want to kill me now." And it's
And
like
they do.
Jesus, yeah, with his
And they still
wife
do.
and newborn kid at home, 24/7 surveillance. Like Jesus.
I want to take a moment to call out. I wasn't able to watch the whole movie because I had to go get the pub ready. Kevin McCarthy is a traitor to the Republic. He is
Wait.
one of
Okay, you're not gonna say the thing you said earlier.
no,
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think so.
Okay.
He is one of the biggest pieces of shit that this country has ever produced, and he comes off horrible. And I have to say, there's a point, the part that I saw, which is completely true, where Kinzinger says, "I don't blame Trump." Well, actually, I do. I'm mad at Trump. He starts by saying, "I'm not mad at Trump. I actually am mad at Trump," he says afterwards. And he says, but he clarifies, and what he means is, he expects it from Trump. Trump was a force of nature. He said he didn't expect it from Kevin McCarthy. And there's pictures of them being friends, being at like ball games. And McCarthy offered to officiate the wedding between Adam Kinzinger and his wife. And to betray him and to betray this country and the Republic over Donald Trump is a lasting shame on this piss stain of a legacy that he has. Kevin McCarthy, I hope you feel every single day in your life the guilt that you deserve for betraying this nation, and also your previous friend, Adam Kinzinger, who deserved more than your abandonment and disdain.
Yeah, and it's crazy the mapping it onto all of the online politics stuff. Like Kinzinger talks about Kissinger.
You just said
Kinzinger talks about fuck this guy's last name. My boy Adam.
Adam.
Yeah, he talks about how awkward it is that now he's lost every single friend, and he kind of has some new ones, but obviously they don't trust him because he's a Republican.
Yeah.
And how totally isolated that he was being a part of that committee. After the election, and you're like lame duck cycle where they're kind of cycling people out, just like his staffers that are like in the transition rooms and him upstairs. And man, it's a movie. I didn't know that growing up, or not. I say growing up. I guess he was in his 20s. It's like all on camera that there was like some woman who was like getting stabbed to death by her boyfriend, and she was like running, and he like runs into this lady on the street, and he intervenes and is like wrestling with this dude with a knife to like save this woman's life. And it's just like this guy's life is just crazy, and he's like he just has like such an insanely goofy-ish humble energy about him.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, you guys should, if you don't have this on the movie list, you should watch this. It's an insanely crazy
And that's what
movie.
happens when true patriots stand up against MAGA and put their country before their party. When true patriots do that, the response is the
Kick them out of the party.
anti-American,
Yeah.
anti-patriotic bozos of MAGA will try to ruin your life and kill you. They're vicious thugs, and that's what they do. And Kinzinger, I think, is someone that one of the reasons why people say, why embrace Liz Cheney? Why embrace Adam Kinzinger? On an electoral level, I get it. But they deserve a lot of our respect because they did something braver than any of us or any of you motherfuckers have ever done. And I understand, they started as Republicans and had bad positions, but they knew what they were going into. They knew they were ending their political lives, and they knew that it was a threat because no one is more hated than an apostate. And that's what they are to these people, and they're anathema. And so I respect Kamala Harris for embracing even these people who did the brave thing in abandoning the MAGA extremists, the radicals, and in embracing the Constitution.
And it sounds kind of goofy because we don't think about things. I think he said this. I'm pretty sure it was him that said this too. That oaths matter, and you truly see people that put as elected people who are in service to their country, like the Constitution is above everything else. And to see people, even people who have insane positions about government, like Bill Barr, being willing to say like, this is too much. Like, I can't go with you all the way here. Like,
But
Bill
he
Barr was
endorses, but Barr endorses. And so does...
Wait. I hate that I'm even saying this. Did Barr endorse Trump, or did he say he would just vote for the Republican ticket?
I think he said the latter, but that's
Yeah.
endorsing.
Sure,
That's
not
endorsing.
good, yeah.
And Chris Sununu as well, Nikki Haley, traitors to the Republic, and they deserve it for the same reason Adam Kinzinger put out, knowing accomplices of MAGA, of dark MAGA, of this corruption. You just saw Melania Trump release her own meme coin, robbing from this country, robbing us blind.
Hopefully. That's the good story.
That's the best case scenario.
The best case is they're just robbing their own fans. The worst case is
they're getting money from foreign actors
for who knows what.
And it's open season, open bribery. This country is for sale, and the people calling out are getting death threats. And I just think that's despicable. And we're not the only ones who believe that. The other people who believe that this country is under attack by radical MAGA Republicans, and we need to stand up to them and empower voices who are against that, are the 100 or so plus DGGers on no notice who showed up to this event afterwards at a pub to gather with each other, to meet each other, and physically come and basically to celebrate the fact that, you know, you were in the city and to, you know, show up for New York. But how many people came up to us to express their disgust of where the country was, looking for answers, looking for hope? Did that encourage you at all?
Yeah, it was cool. I appreciate it. Yeah. After we'll be talking a lot about after we run through all these interviews for the DNC chair stuff. Like we have to find more positive ways to pour energy into things, and we'll definitely be doing that. We'll have that conversation in the coming weeks because it's crazy to think. I remember like Trump's presidency was crazy, and it's crazy now to think of where we're at, and he's not even in office yet.
It's tomorrow.
He's not even in office.
Tomorrow he's taking office on Martin Luther King Day.
Coin. Have you seen any of the 80% held by initial investors? It's when I checked last night, I think it was over an $18 billion market cap. I don't know if it's gone up more, if anybody knows. 18. And it will be the biggest crypto scam in all of history by the president. Well, hold on. I'm so sorry. I keep misspeaking. Not by the president of the United States, but by Donald Trump, an American citizen, because that's not going to any campaign. It's not going into any sort of electoral fund. It's not. It's just to enrich him personally. He also happens to be the president of the United States. It's insane.
Is shameless. It is shameless, and it is constant, and it is brazen in your face, the corruption, the level of lies. They're now talking about how Donald Trump is going to be the savior of TikTok. Now, I predict he probably will try to come to a deal with TikTok, but this is after being touted as this. It's my idea all along to ban TikTok. You see Charlie Kirk, tweet a few years ago saying TikTok needs to be banned, absolutely needs to be banned. And this morning or yesterday, like saying Gen Z, this is why Gen Z loves Trump, because Trump gets TikTok and is going to bring it back. It is shameless, the level of depravity, outright corruption and lies that we're seeing on a daily basis, and we're going to see. And it's going to get worse, not better.
Every day. He truthed out, I think it was an hour ago, I saw, right before I spoke to Miriam, that he wants America to own 50% of TikTok. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if we are actually like socialist communists now, where the government is like having ownership in like state-run media. But also, the thing that scares me the most about that tweet isn't the absurdity of that statement or the hypocrisy of all the supporters who are like, oh, I don't want state-run media. I wonder if that is going to segue somehow into, well, Elon can own 50% of TikTok, and there are just so many horrible ways that can go. I just can't even imagine. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I want to dwell for a second on Elon Musk and what happened recently with this gaming controversy.
Oh my God.
It disgusts me to no end, because it's actually one of the worst things. Sometimes it's the little things that a politician or political person will do, as opposed to the big things that put you off from someone. And here you have, so he's lying a little bit about his rank in a game. But no, it's not that. It's that he must be so maniacal or stupid to think that he is going to fool some of the most, this game by itself, normies don't know about this game. Like, in order to even know about this game, you have to be a gamer. You think that they're gonna like not notice that you're a fucking noob?
Like, why would you stream yourself playing it? I tried to find the original interview where he brags about being a Quake pro when there were like 20 people playing Quake. Like, we would know who you are, bro. You wouldn't be an anonymous. Like, we would know that you can't just say this. But I tried to find that full discussion that he had with Joe Rogan over being a pro gamer. And this guy, he goes, to be a pro gamer, you got to be real fast. Like, if you're playing at a professional level, you have to have like a 10 millisecond response time to people shooting at you or whatever. And I'm like, why would you even like, for people that play games that do reaction tests, right? Like, I think 130 or 140 is like the theoretical max. 10 millisecond? Why would you even say something this fucking
He doesn't
stupid?
Have DNA. He has USA.
It's why would you lie about this? It's like pathological.
It's pathological, or it's trying to make the audience believe. I know this is a fucking meme. The big lie, in order to make it so that they're complicit. That no matter what, no matter how big the lie is, you're going to believe him. If he's willing to lie about this and it's going to convince people, he's going to lie about anything. You shouldn't believe a word this motherfucker says. And he is going to have a big role in this next administration. And that is why, by the way, I think it's important to put on voices from all, no matter if you disagree or agree with Marianne Williamson, Jason Paul, who's also an unconventional voice, not establishment politician, and we're going to be talking to other people as well. I think it's important to hear these voices because we need to have, frankly, a new perspective, a new strategy, something to address with this blatant corruption. If it's so obvious and in your face, how are we not capitalizing on this, and how are we not winning more elections? Like you said, anything short of a 50-state landslide in this election, to me, would have been an indictment on this
the
country.
American people, yeah. I think that one of the things we spoke about, and I kind of mentioned earlier, is trying to find more, like, we're going to find fights every few months, every year to be involved in, right? Because we have to get, like, wins, because it feels really doomer right now. But, trying to be positive, because we should.
Yeah,
We've come
we should be.
back from worse historically, and empires have also fallen, so either's possible. But I think that we need to view 2026 as, like, a big, like, staging ground for, like, this is hopefully where we have righted the ship already, because just on a historical basis, midterms, incumbent party tends to not do as well. But we've already seen kind of fracturing in the Republican
And the normal
base.
kind of like, yes.
With the H-1B stuff, that was a fight. I think the crypto stuff is going to be rough.
We'll see.
Because you have to keep in mind, too, and I know that I can be hyperbolic with my language, and I'm trying to do better at, like, who I fixate on and who I hate. All of these crypto people that have gone along with Trump, these guys did not become hardcore authoritarian MAGA conservatives overnight. They're just kind of along for the ride because they think he's epic and because of the crypto stuff.
These are the Portnoys of the world, the bros of the world.
But these are not people who are like, we really need to re-examine gay marriage or stuff like that. These are people who are probably like, trans people are okay, maybe just not trans kids. Like, they're conservatives, but they're not, like, as crazy as you think.
But they're also low information.
They are low information, but that means that what I hope is going to happen is that if the Trump stuff falls apart, you're not going to have a bunch of people who were MAGA who are now, like, looking for their next authoritarian leader. I think it's going to be a bunch of people who are kind of, like, looking around, scratching their heads, who are like, waking
what the
up,
fuck
they're
just
like,
happened?
Yeah, what the fuck? Where did this come from? And then that's the opportunity, hopefully, for, like, a well-formed Democratic establishment, for a party to come in and, like, do their messaging better, signal the wins better, and be more positive.
And you said it right. I think I was listening to the DNC forum of the DNC chairs. By the way, I think it was an interesting forum, but the official forum is getting much less views than your interview series. We're talking 6,000, 7,000.
Don't be so mean about it.
I'm not. Listen, I think you guys should all watch it. I thought it was good content. There were some good memes. We've talked about it, but this is just to emphasize that whatever they're doing on their YouTube channel ain't fucking working. Because if Donald Trump, I know it's a chair interview, whatever, but if it were Laura Trump, if it were, against some of these other people jockeying for the RNC chair position, you'd see more engagement on their YouTube channel. So that's why I love that we're getting candidates to come in, because you're right. 2026 is
also, just on that real quick,
Yeah.
if you see me tweet out, like I think I tweeted out that Marianne Williamson today, that Marianne Williamson was coming on to chat, replying under those tweets, as stupid as it
super
sounds,
helpful.
yeah, replying under those, like, oh, thanks for chatting, this was cool or whatever. These people everybody loves attention, and politicians especially love attention, and people looked at, like, AOC, I think they were very jealous of, like, why are we talking about this motherfucker?
Yeah.
So that type of, like, positive reinforcement on social media, I think, is as stupid as it sounds, it is really important now.
And it'll be important going into 2026. 2026 starts today.
Now.
2026 starts tomorrow, today, yesterday. It's going on right now. That's why we're hopeful. We're going to be reaching out to other politicians in other races, maybe some governor's races, definitely some New York House races, because there are some motherfuckers that we both need to attack and defend.
Oh, no.
And so
You're a New Yorker. You know who was at Mar-a-Lago a few days ago?
Mayor. Well, let's withhold.
Oh, wait. Is he going to be?
We'll see.
We'll see what happens with him.
But there's definitely some appetite in this city for potentially some changes, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to find out who are the killers, who are the people with grit.
Killers, metaphorically.
Or the people, if you agree with Marianne Williamson, who are going to get to the core of that moral core, that that feeling, whatever that is. I think that there is a proving ground now where we have to test out strong candidates, not weak candidates, and so I'm especially insistent that we carry forward whatever residue of strength that we have at the moment or whatever we're doing right now into the future, because 2026 starts today. One of the big mistakes is not thinking ahead. And the Democrats, a lot of candidates have said this, only thinking in terms of election cycles as opposed to 365 days a year. There's a messaging
Trump is
campaign.
campaigning multiple times a day with every single truth, every single tweet, every single whatever he sends out. Yeah. One of the things that Adam said in the Last President, that movie.
It was Nick.
Not the last president. Sorry, fuck. The Last Republican.
Nick Mullen.
Adam
Oh, sorry.
Kinzinger.
Kinzinger. My bad.
Fuck you. One of the things that he said that I thought was insightful was he felt like the Republican Party missed a huge moment after I think it was after the second impeachment. He said that there was like 6 weeks of silence where nobody really knew what was going on, where a bunch of corporations had pulled all of their funding from the 100 or so Republicans that voted to overturn the election, basically, in the House. And he said that I felt like the Republican Party missed a moment where leaders could have stepped up and steered the Republican Party in a good direction, but instead everybody was basically silent until McCarthy crawled back to Trump and then brought back all of MAGA and then moved in a direction. He said he felt like that was the biggest missed opportunity. So we should try to, the measure of like a person's ability to lead is how well you can spot those
and
opportunities
capitalize
in advance or as they're happening and not retrospectively.
It's opportunity cost. And one other thing I want to stress, we're going to be wrapping up soon, but it's not just offense, it's also defense in the future. And one of the missed opportunities will be if we lose someone like a Tom Suozzi, or if we lose someone in one of these very competitive districts. I think it's important for us to think about the opportunities from an offensive and defensive perspective and what could be in the opportunity cost. We have more stuff. I think we can announce at least one of the days that we're doing next week, actually this week, the day after the inauguration. We'll be speaking, or sorry, Stephen will be speaking to Ken Martin, who right now is also in the DNC chair race. I think by a lot of accounts, Martin, Wickler, a couple of these other candidates are prominent people in the party and getting a lot of big endorsements. And so Stephen will be speaking with him. And to help guide that information and also have a little bit of a sit down with Stephen as well, hopefully we're going to be able to get Harry Sisson to come in. He's also, I think, based in New York and being able to talk to you. And following that week, we're going to have other content as well, maybe some influencers, maybe some stuff like that. So keep your eyes peeled. It really, I know that a lot of these have been short notice. We put it together kind of on a little bit of a short notice, but I'm really, really optimistic and have a lot of like invigoration from how well it's being received and how you guys are really stepping up to the plate in promoting it and in talking about it. That makes me feel really good.
Yeah. Also keep your eyes open for Destiny Coin, $DST. It is going to be awesome. I like how they don't even pretend to make it like a project. It's literally just called like Trump meme coin. Like that. It's just a meme coin. It's just literally to pump and dump.
They'll defend it. They'll defend it, and there will be no justice. There will be no justice for this.
That could be our upside. If Trump gets, well, Trump won't. Hopefully, Trump's not president again after in 2028. Maybe the next guy that comes in can go after him. They'll have a new SEC chair guy who will be like, "This was not a good coin scheme," and that'll be the way we get justice. It'll be like when they went after OJ the second time or whatever, right? And they got him. They got him in the coin. It was the crypto coin.
New SEC chair, Merrick Garland. I hear he needs a job.
We don't talk about Merrick Garland here.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Ooh, you would have been real mad. I didn't know how many people in that theater were DGGers. If I would have known now, this would have been like, have you been to like a midnight movie?
When you got there,
I would have
like
been screaming so
were you
much.
like, oh, I'm Destiny. Hi, everybody. Settle down. Did people clap?
Of course, obviously.
Did they clap?
No, but close enough. They were in their minds. But yeah, Adam was talking constantly about like, Merrick Garland failed us and he didn't go in.
He said
and I
that?
was like, yeah. And I was like, man, Pisco would have been real mad if he was here. And every time he said that, I heard people in the audience, this is Pisco. And they were like, ooh, they were looking for you.
Mitch McConnell failed us too. I mean, that impeachment stuff was wild. So folks, let's stay connected. Let's stay cool. Let's make sure that Stephen wears some polos from now on. August, why haven't we put up Joanna's presentation about the Polo King?
We're working on that, okay?
Where's the Jan 6 video?
It's next. Ken Martin is going to help us drop it.
This Tuesday, Ken Martin,
He's
Jan 6
announcing it with
video.
me, actually, we're just going to sit and watch it for 4.5 hours because it's a long video.
Oh, wait, last thing, and then we can cut. What do you think about people like Snoop Dogg, Carrie Underwood, and like just going and playing music at the inauguration, that kind of stuff?
I mean, everybody wants to be part of the cultural moment, I guess, and there's a lot of money to be made over there. So
You're guarding yourself a little bit. And
no, I obviously think it's I think it's gross. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? It's horrible. What do you want me to say? Obviously, it's bad. I disagree with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you feel that you want to say to your fans in this moment? Everyone's watching.
I also have a rank 10 character on Path of Exile 2. I've been playing a lot on the plane, and I'll be revealing that when I get home as well. Yeah. I always play in the most extreme hard difficulty, and yeah.
Folks, this has been great. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Steven, I'll give you the last word.
Thanks for helping out, you and Joanna and everybody else behind the scenes whose names I don't think I'm allowed to say yet, but I really appreciate all the help. It's been cool. We're setting all this stuff up like super dynamically. I've done basically nothing but fly in and show up, and you and Joanna and all the other help have like taken care of everything. So it's really cool. This is all working out, and yeah, we super appreciate it. We're here in a couple days, and by the end of this month, we'll be the kingpins of the Democratic Party. You know, it's